various family functions, a visiting friend from China, as well as his occasional desire to, quote, just hang out at home for a couple of days.
I mean, I suppose I vaguely understood when he had to go back in November because his best friend's grandfather died, but last weekend he had to go back for his aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary. He said he couldn't miss it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, and we invite you to take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up whatever you want to talk about on the radio. The number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms, where you can go to discord.lrn.fm. If you've got the Discord app on your phone, then that will allow you to easily get on the air with us and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio. So once again, join our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in our studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Starting out with a couple of updates to some stories we've covered over the last week and then months. We got the latest on Cody Wilson, who we've covered quite in depth over the last week here on Free Talk Live. And then
He's
also
the founder of Defense Distributed and the creator of the Liberator.
Correct. Now he has been, well, I guess he's resigned from Defense Distributed. We'll tell you more about that. But the biggest news of the day probably is Bill Cosby. He is now sentenced for the, I guess it was just, 3 to 10 year sentence for sexually assaulting a former Temple University employee at his home back in 2004. So there were all kinds of accusations swirling around Bill Cosby, but only one ended up being brought to trial because likely due to the fact that many of them were, more than a decade plus old. In this case, this one was, 14 years old.
Yeah, these were, rather old allegations, and the jury, listened to them, came up with the conclusion that they came up with, and, that's how the system works.
He is 81 years old and
blind.
Is he fully blind or partially blind?
I don't know. He was described as blind on the news.
Like needing assistance, blind.
I see. Well, he's going to need a lot of assistance, I imagine, behind bars because he's, again, in hhis 80s and now been sentenced to 3 to 10 years.
There will be plenty of chocolate pudding pops available for him.
God. Judge Stephen O'Neill handed down a sentence of no less than 3 years and no more than 10 behind bars. And, of course, it's worth pointing out that
good behavior for an 81-year-old.
Males in the United States tend to not last much longer than 74 on average. So
black males usually don't last quite as long as other ethnicities for whatever the reasons might be.
So there's a good chance that Bill Cosby is going to die inside a prison cell.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say about it. I wouldn't have given him the sentence that I gave that he was given. I would have stuck with house arrest, but nobody's going to listen to me anyway because I'm an ex-con. I don't think that prison is generally a good solution for most people. Prison is a place that you should put, to my mind, people who are a danger to society. Bill Cosby is not a danger to society.
Well, they're going to claim that he is still a danger. I mean, he's been allegedly molesting women for decades, ostensibly. And
if you can't get away from he's not attached in Hollywood at all anymore. Bill Cosby's chop isn't going to get you anywhere in Hollywood. Whatever he had,
it's gone
5 years ago is gone.
Yeah.
We used to have Bill Cosby listed on our what we call a one sheet in sales. Bill Cosby is advertised on Free Talk Live for one of his books.
Really?
That's correct.
And I had no idea.
His name was on our one sheet because people recognize Bill Cosby's name.
Right.
But I've taken it off. I've quietly removed it, Ian.
Yeah.
Without your knowledge, I have removed Bill Cosby's name.
Didn't even know it was there in the first place.
Yes, from our one sheet. So, his currency is gone. he's not going to. He's only the dumbest of starlets is going to fall into the trap of the unconnected, blind, has been America's dad. I mean,
that's true.
I don't know who's going to fall into this particular trap. He's not dangerous.
You'd have to be living under a rock to not, have heard about what's been going on with Bill Cosby. However,
or you just want to get drugged and molested.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, however,
somebody in the United States right now wants to get drugged and molested. There's somebody out there for Bill Cosby. I can assure you.
Well, I mean, if it's molestation, then it's not wanted by definition, so you can't really define it.
They want to pretend like it is.
Okay, well, that's fine. Anyway, Cosby, again, sentenced to 3 to 10 years behind bars. I think the argument, Mark, against what you're saying here, and I'm not necessarily taking this position, but I'm just going to kind of counter your position, because I tend to agree with you that he's not a danger and therefore shouldn't be behind bars. But others would say, well, you can't give Cosby a break because
I think that's it. Yeah,
because somebody else in a similar circumstance, an older gentleman who's not nationally or internationally recognized, when they're back out on the streets, nobody's going to know who they are, right? So Cosby has the name recognition. Everybody's seen the headlines. You'd have to be living underneath a rock.
A sentence is a personal thing. You look at the situation and you hand down the proper sentence. So Bill Cosby...
So he should get a break because he's a star?
He shouldn't get a break because of that. I think that basically what we have to do, because of America the way it is today, you have to say, rape's bad. We got to make sure that everybody knows that rape's bad. Because people out there will say rape ain't bad. We got to make sure everybody knows rape's bad. And so you've got to hand down this sentence that would be harsher than is probably necessary in order to prove to people, hey, this whole thing about rape culture you're talking about or whatever, that's not going on here. This man had a trial, he was found guilty, and he's being sentenced for rape. And I personally would not, if I were the judge, I would have deviated towards the downside, because I feel like the people of Pennsylvania are being robbed right now. There is no reason for a blind 81-year-old to be put in prison other than the optics. And if you're putting somebody in prison for optics, then what difference? What is that besides just the middle-aged? Middle Ages kind of peasants whipping rotted fruit at the person about ready to get their head chopped off. What's the difference there?
Okay, I'm going to ask you another one here then. Okay. Should a older person be given special treatment and deference in the criminal justice system?
Yes.
So does that mean that an older person is basically able to get away with committing things in a way that other younger people aren't?
What is getting away with? I mean, I just said I wouldn't sentence him to that. You've never asked me what I would sentence him to. You're just throwing these questions at. I would make sure that you had...
But somebody's going to look at it as getting away. Whatever the sentence is, you're saying it shouldn't be.
I don't care what other people think. The world... Look, man, I'm living in a world where half of the public, by definition, is below average in intelligence. And then the 30% above that are not freaking stellar.
Median, I think.
Fine.
Half would be below the median.
The median is the average when you're talking about intelligence.
I bet you it's not.
I bet you it is.
Well, I'll have to look it up later. I don't have that in front of me right now. But go ahead with your point.
Fine. It's darn close to half, by definition, is below average. Right? They are below average. Half is below average. That's what an average means.
No, not always. That's not what an average means.
Fine, I don't care.
We can pull up the definitions for you if you want.
Yeah, a median is a form of average. I'm aware of that.
No, median is a median. It's completely different.
No, it's not completely different. It's another form of average.
Johnson, do you have an opinion on median versus average? These are two completely different mathematical concepts.
Yes.
Yes, you have an opinion, or yes, they are different?
Yes, they are completely different concepts.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We got Jim. He's in New Mexico, listening and watching us on Twitch at twitch.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, this is Jim from customer service. I'm calling. I got a number of complaints that there's a topless Tuesday and the tops are on. This one here says not enough nipples. I was wondering if you guys could just pop those tops off, please. It's really...
It just goes to show you just can't make everybody happy. I mean, whether it's tops off on Tuesday or tops on, somebody's going to complain. I don't envy your job, Jim, there at Twitch customer service, but I do thank you for the call tonight. In fact, Mark, you've got a story on the way about Facebook. Not their customer service department.
Google.
No, or maybe Johnson had the Facebook story. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You've got the Facebook story where they're not customer service, but their moderator department. Apparently, they are pretty upset, and they're actually suing their employer over what they have to do for work. We'll tell you about that coming up here in moments. 855 450 free plus. Your thoughts on Cosby or whatever's on your mind. It's Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com with just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash is now Horizon, and Free Talk Live is giving away some Zen. Over the last 6 weeks, we've given away 8 Zen, and we're giving away more. To enter the next giveaway, send your transparent Zen address via email to Daryl@freetalklive.com and tell us how you listen to the show. The winner will be randomly selected from all entries received before noon on Wednesday, September 26th. Again, to enter, send your transparent Zen address via email to Daryl@freetalklive.com. Tell us how you listen to the show.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. We're still trying to inform Mark on the difference between a median and an average.
I know the difference. Look, man. Tell me, what grade did you get in trigonometry and analytic geometry? Oh, that's right. At the smart school, you didn't take it.
No, I dropped out after calculus.
No, it was before calculus in my school. I never took calc.
Okay. Well, I took calc, and then that was the end of that for me.
So you took Algebra 2
and
then went straight to calc?
I took Algebra 2 actually twice because I went to calculus once and failed it, so I had to go back to Algebra 2.
Okay. Good Lord. How many math classes did you take in high school?
Not that many, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
No more than the minimum
I know
required.
the definition. I think that in this circumstance, considering bell curves and considering what a moving average is, that we can still say that intelligence, by its definition, intelligence, that half of the population is below average intelligence.
You can say that, but only because of what Johnson said off the air. So can you explain
about
IQ?
the fact that IQ is calculated by averages? So 100 is always the moving average of an IQ. So that's why you can say that people are below the average, because it's a moving point.
They're setting that over time differently based on what the average happens to be.
Yes.
So, but
I know
what
that the more we have this discussion, the more I feel like my brain is filling full of calculus. And I don't mean the mathematical version. I mean the hard substance that
collects on your teeth.
Calcification?
Yes.
Is that called
they
calculus?
Use calculus, yeah. They use
really?
the term calculus for that.
But anyway, the definition of a median is what you were saying was the definition of an average earlier.
No.
That's where you were incorrect. You kept saying by definition. Yes, if you're using the definition of intelligence quotient, as Johnson just pointed out, you would be correct. But by definition, the words that then came out of your mouth, half of being above, half being below, that's a median.
Agreed.
Every time.
Yes, like things could throw. Intelligence tends to collect tightly around a number. So that number being 100. And because of that, you'll find very few outliers to throw things off. There's not going to be, when we're talking about intelligence,
Correct.
there's not going to be
because of the way it's set up. Like
somebody
Johnson
with 1,000 intelligence and somebody with a 1.
So the intelligence quotient is basically set up to have 100 being in the middle.
Right. By its definition, half of the population is below average. And
by the definition of intelligence quotient, but not the definition of an average.
Fine.
Okay. Just to be clear.
I'm glad you've got that nailed down, and you've informed the audience ad nauseum surrounding what the difference between...
It's important to know what you're saying.
Yeah, I got a mean and a median is. I gotcha.
Yeah.
However, I still don't care what people have to say on subjects that they are largely ignorant about.
Bill Cosby and rape allegations, rape convictions.
Well, the idea
sentences.
of what's best to, how best to punish people. Crime and punishment isn't something that humans are very good at. We're very good at wanting the pound of flesh. We want the punishment aspect. But what are we doing? What makes the most sense when it comes to society? What's going to make things best? And we don't know. Largely don't know the answer. But I can tell you, after spending 8.5 years in prison, it's probably not that thing. And if it is that thing, prison, it's not going to be effective for Bill Cosby, who's an 81-year-old blind man.
Right, because the idea behind prison is, it's in the name, right? Department of Corrections is what it's called here for the jail here in
or rehabilitation's another term that they use.
Yeah, and
penitentiary is for penance.
Yeah.
Right.
So the idea is they're going to correct you, and they're going to make it so that you don't want to do the thing in the future. But Bill Cosby's likely going to die in there.
Right. He's already living in a prison.
Well, then
that's
he's
the body
been
of an
corrected,
81-year-old.
right? I mean, there you go.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Chris is in Canada, watching us on Twitch at twitch.lrn.fm. Hello, Chris.
Hey, Ian. It's actually me. I'm the guy who usually calls in about the shirts and stuff. Those are kind of my friends who are calling about the shirts. But the Bill Cosby talk had me thinking I actually wanted to talk to you guys about it and have a serious call. It wasn't my initial intention, but it was. Mark was saying, I got to agree with you on it, Ian. The idea of Mark saying that he's no chance that he's going to reoffend. Are you guys familiar with the precedent set from the Whiptos case?
The what?
No, it's like no. Yeah, I heard about that. It's a Henway.
Oh, this guy knows. Johnson, you're fucking good.
Oh, you can't say that on the radio. We're so sorry, but that's just not allowed. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. So was that just gobbledygook, what he was saying?
Yeah, he was saying some kind of gobbledygook, and then you go like, what? And then, and whatever.
That's what
I didn't know what he was saying, but I responded with, it's a henway.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to say?
I have no effing clue.
You're supposed to
saying.
say, what's a henway?
Oh, about 3 pounds or something
right,
like that?
about 4 or 5 pounds. You don't even know what a hen weighs.
How the hell would I? I've heard the joke 20 years ago.
You're the matron of this house. You go and do the shopping.
Yeah, I don't buy hens.
So you know. You don't buy a whole chicken?
No.
Right.
No,
How old are you?
I don't cook.
How old are you?
None of your business.
You're
I don't
like
cook.
35, 36, 37. You haven't cooked a chicken in your life.
Nah, probably not.
All right.
Nope.
Well, I've always heard that a hen weighs about 3 dick force. So.
All right.
All right. Let's continue here with Bill. Actually, in one moment here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's too bad. It was a good joke. He just shouldn't have said the F word on the air. We could have. We didn't have to.
He's Canadian. They say the F word.
Dump him. I don't think that's allowed in Canadian broadcast radio, but I could be wrong. I know there's certain things you definitely can't say in Canada that you can say on the radio here in the United States. But go ahead, Bill in Omaha, also watching on Twitch at twitch.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Bill.
Hey, guys. I just had a question about the setup you got in your studio.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
You have the gentleman in the middle, Mark, I believe. When you cut to his personal camera, it looks like he's staring at the ceiling. Is there something interesting up there?
No, it's a really boring. It's a really boring ceiling.
Is his chair really short or something?
I don't know. I haven't noticed that about you, Mark. I mean, I sit here and look at you most of the time.
Look
during
at the camera over there. I don't know what. I don't know. I'm looking at this moment. I'm looking at the camera setup.
Yeah, I haven't noticed him looking at the ceiling, but then again, I'm not watching him like a hawk, so I don't know. Maybe he's just rolling his eyes or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. Was there anything else you had to share?
Putting something up there for him to look at.
We should be putting something up there?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll consider it. Thanks, Bill. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. What would you like to have on the ceiling to look at, Mark?
I'm not looking at the ceiling.
Anything in particular? No? Okay. So Bill Cosby sentenced to 3 to 10 years behind bars. The judge ruled Cosby as a sexually violent predator. The classification means Cosby must undergo lifetime counseling for whatever amount of lifetime he has left and report quarterly to so-called authorities. His name will appear on a sex offender registry sent to neighbors, schools, and victims. Cosby's lawyer argued for bail after the ruling, but O'Neill pushed back and said Cosby will not be getting bail. Quote, "I've imposed sentencing at this stage. If you want to take it up with another court, you can." And I imagine Cosby will be appealing this particular sentence. Cosby's lawyer said he had fought the sexually violent predator designation, arguing that Pennsylvania's sex offender law is unconstitutional and that he is no threat to the public at his age. But O'Neill said prosecutors had met their burden of proof with clear and convincing evidence. Your calls and thoughts are certainly welcome here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves. Plus, the latest on Cody Wilson's situation, the guy from Defense Distributed, the 3D gun guy. I'll tell you what's going on with him in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Our number 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. The Blink home security system is super affordable and about as easy as it could possibly be to set up. You get the cameras. You get 15% off of them when you use this URL, blinkprotect.com/FTL. Get 15% off. You get the cameras in. You unbox them. Pop the batteries in. Those are included, by the way, in the package. And then you just put the cameras up wherever you want them in your home, around your house, and you set them up wirelessly via your wireless device, say a tablet or smartphone, laptop. You set them up, and then you decide when you want them to operate. Do you want them at nighttime, maybe while you're at work, maybe wherever, whenever. You set it up, and then they will let you know via video clips sent to your phone whenever something moves in front of them during those time frames. And it works well. It's HD quality. It's also no contracts and no subscriptions, which is a huge thing to have in a security system, to not actually have to keep shelling out through the nose to these monitoring companies. You don't do that with Blink.
What I love about the Blink system is I don't think about it much at all.
Mm-hmm. Until you get a notice.
It works when it works. Yeah. Last night, a visitor, their dog began barking at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
That got up my mother's dogs.
Yep.
And I had to then take them. Once they're up, you got to take them out.
Yep.
So I took them out. Well, the Blink system got me taking the dogs out.
Right. So
and I got a notification on myself.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing was wrong at the house, but you want to know that the system's going to work when something is wrong. But I generally don't get, mostly I don't get bothered by it. But I happen to be up, obviously, and got my notification. Everything worked out great.
BlinkProtect.com/FTL. By the way, Blink does work with Alexa because Blink is now an Amazon company. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, Big Loaf is on the line in North Carolina. Big Loaf, go ahead.
Yeah, evening, gentlemen.
Hey there.
So I just thought I'd let you know. So I went to go search for your podcast on YouTube. And when I did that search, I was presented with a Go Register to Vote banner, which I think is very interesting because Google, their analytics are to the point where if I even think about a purchase, they're throwing me ads. Yet somehow they have not figured out I'm an anarchist, right? So my question is, do y'all think this constitutes as like election manipulation?
No.
Because it seems pretty clear, like they're making a choice to ignore certain facts about me in hopes of changing an opinion.
No, that's not election manipulation because they're not advocating for one opponent or another. And of course, it would be their I think it would be their prerogative to be able to do that anyway if they wanted to. But
yeah, I'm not making a moral case for them, being aggressive with their platform. I mean, if I don't like it, I can just not go. But I thought it was very interesting, no less. I'm like looking for a podcast with a few maybe anarchists, and they're throwing up register to vote. That seems pretty blatant to me in terms of like an example of voter manipulation.
No, I'm sure they're just hitting that on everybody. That's probably they're not targeting you specifically.
I don't have
that.
a particular problem with the idea of people voting. I think that it's mathematically an insignificant act. I think that it's probably you could find something better to do with your time. If you really want to affect the outcome of a vote, you probably should donate some money to a particular campaign rather than voting. But
well,
go ahead.
Did you see the study? I think it was Dr. Epstein. He did some statistical analysis of the effects of search results and suggestions on actual voters and found that Google, through simply suggesting certain things in the search bar as you're typing, or by actually manipulating the results on a given search, that Google single-handedly could sway a vote 20 to 80% on its own in a given demographic.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously it didn't help them get Hillary elected.
No, it didn't, but Dr. Epstein, who is a self-avowed Hillary supporter, which I find very interesting, said that he thought that what Google was doing was more dangerous than Trump, but two, would explain the popular vote victory that Hillary had. According to him, the things they were doing to manipulate the search accounts for that, popular vote victory. And without that type of manipulation, she would have actually lost the popular vote as well as the electoral vote.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting speculation, but obviously it's, you can't really prove it.
Well, actually, he's got a scientific peer-reviewed white paper where he does statistical analysis of, like, essentially Nielsen candidates, but on internet searches. And he's sort of kind of viewing what they're typing and then what Google responds with. And through his analysis, he's claiming he has statistical proof this is in fact happening.
So he's got people who participated in a study, allowing the study authors to view their search results, and then they also explained to them how they voted. I mean, you probably haven't read the details in the study, but I mean, were the people? What I find myself wondering is, were they able to say with some sort of, definity that it was Google that helped them decide how to vote? Or is it just they're just presuming that they voted one way or another based on the things they were searching for? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I haven't read the actual academic paper, but I've heard his podcast TLDR, and he seems pretty certain, and he's like a professor at Harvard with a peer-reviewed paper that shows this, and I think it's very interesting. And he's a self-proclaimed Hillary supporter. I believe he was on Michael Malice's podcast last week. So not to plug somebody else, but I mean, it's there.
I've read his book.
And
He's good. Guy's a good writer, Michael Malice.
Yeah, he's got a decent show. I mean, but I don't donate like I do to you all at what's
thanks.
that website? amp.freetalklive.com.
That's right, ampamp.freetalklive.com. I mean, I even if what you're saying is true and that Google is able to manipulate to some extent how people feel on an election based on the search results that they are delivering to them, which, it seems like a stretch, but even if that's true, I still think that's fine. It's their service. It's their website. They should be able to do what they want with it.
But wait, what they can do and what they do are different things, right? So the results that they deliver, Google, builds a profile around you and delivers results based on that profile to some extent, is presumably what they do. They keep their special herbs and spices kind of secret, but that's what they do. A person with a gun can blow a hole right in the middle of you, and he's only guilty of a crime if he does. So Google could manipulate an election.
Well, no, the suggestion is they are, right? That's what the study is saying, right, Big Loaf?
Right, and that combined with a slew of leaked emails where you've got actual search engine engineers and their management agreeing on techniques to manipulate search results in the wake of the Trump travel ban. I think it was like last year, maybe the year before. I mean, so it's means, motive, opportunity, and proof that it actually happened, right? Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that if they did it, that we pass a law or whatever. If you don't like it, just use Mastodon or whatever, right?
Well, Mastodon isn't a search engine, but there are other search engines who presumably would not be as manipulative. But
who knows?
Can
search Google on incognito. You can use Start Page. You can use.
Well, no. The suggestion from some is that Google is just manipulating search engine results on the whole.
Yeah, I know what the suggestion is.
I think a good example of this was the claim during the Trump-Hillary fight that if you searched for Hillary and then you know how Google kind of fills in, it'll show you options, so when you start typing it fills whatever the allegedly most popular search, however people would fill it the rest of the way,
right?
They show those to you, and they weren't showing anything about Hillary emails or Hillary corruption or anything like that. It was all like the most basic stuff. But then again, I guess that what they compared that to was Yahoo, I guess, and Yahoo was showing the Hillary emails as one of the top searches. So was that evidence of manipulation? Could be. Trump posted about Google allegedly not showing his State of the Union address linked on the front page, whereas when they did that for Barack Obama several years in a row. So that's kind of damning. There's more coming up. Thanks, Big Loaf.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active. To to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about Google. We just had Big Loaf on the air a moment ago, and he had said that, and he actually just posted the story on Free Talk Live, the chat room over at discord.lrn.fm. Headline, new movie claims Google handed the popular vote to Hillary Clinton. And so we've been talking about Google allegedly manipulating search results. Google, of course, will tell you that's not true at all. But Trump actually did post a video earlier this summer, I think it was, when there was some allegations about this flying around. And Trump posted screenshots of Google's front page. So just, google.com, where there's just the search bar. And then sometimes they have a little thing below it. And below the search bar in previous years, they had a link to Barack Obama's State of the Union address as it was happening. And Trump posted a graphic from what purportedly was during his State of the Union address, and they did not have that link. So that was Trump's example of, but one example of how Google is allegedly manipulating public opinion with their website. But ultimately, as I pointed out, and as Republicus in our Twitch chat agrees here, he says that shouldn't Google be allowed to, as a matter of free speech, is me sharing my opinion and influencing the vote of family members or others somehow wrong? And of course it's not. And if you've got a large platform, in my opinion, you've earned the right to use that.
It's just an inconsistency.
What is?
Posting the State of the Union address for one president and not posting it for the other. You
think it was a mistake?
It's an inconsistency. You can be inconsistent on purpose.
Yeah.
So, that's one of those things. I try to be as consistent as I can as a parent, as a person.
Well, I consistently try to, put pro-liberty propaganda out there. So, maybe it's not a mistake that they took it down inconsistently. Maybe they specifically decided, hey, we don't like Trump, we like Obama, we're going to not promote Trump's
could very well have done that all on purpose, yeah.
And this is where that conversation happened with
I think they did.
Chris Cantwell. I don't know, were you on the show when Cantwell called in last week, Mark?
I was on the show when Cantwell called recently.
Yeah, so when maybe it wasn't last week, but it's within the last week or so, he called in to kind of rehash a conversation that he and I had privately, which I was glad he did, because Cantwell's one of these people who believes that not only is Google manipulating search results to try to promote one party or one candidate or whatever over another, but that something ought to be done about it. That the government ought to step in and basically take over the programming of these companies and or approve, have to come in and audit the code and, make sure everything's fair, which is an insane, crazy, dangerous idea.
Right. I don't want them to do that. But I do want to know if a company is taking a particular political party's side in a dispute. I mean, if
But
you're
it's
just
none of your
taking
business.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely my business. Is that what your point is? Is that it's none of my business?
Well, I mean, you can want to know, but the company is under no obligation whatsoever to tell you.
If their actions show a bias, then I can draw an inference. If they choose not to, no one's going to tell you that they're biased. Okay, that's kind of one of the aspects.
Oh, I'm
of
biased
bias.
towards liberty. I will
understand.
tell you.
You are biased towards liberty.
Yeah.
However, the vast majority of people will not reveal their bias if they even know that they have a bias. And so you have to look at actions, and that's why I'm calling it an inconsistency. If it is true, and I don't know if it's true because I don't really care that much, if Google puts up a State of the Union address, it's just another opportunity for me to ignore the State of the Union address. I'm not going to watch that thing unless you give me some kind, like $100 or something.
Oh God, yeah, it's going to be awful.
A piece of cheesecake. I need something here in order to sit through 10 minutes of the State of the Union address, and I don't care
no matter who the president is.
Which monkey in a suit you put up there. I just don't care. These people are of no consequence to me. But if they're putting up Barack Obama on one hand and they're not putting up Donald Trump's on the other, then what that says to me at the very least is they've changed their policy because of Donald Trump.
Could be.
If they go ahead and put up Barack Obama, not Donald Trump, and then the Democrat that comes after Donald Trump, which is very likely what's going to occur.
You think? You don't think Trump's going to get a re-election?
I'm not saying that he's not going to get reelected.
Okay.
I'm saying that's likely to be a Democrat after him.
I see.
If that's the case, then they've clearly shown their hand. Now, mind you, in another 6 years, they will be that much more thoroughly ensconced as America's search engine.
You think? Isn't it possible that they could fail and fall just
not
like
if people
Woolworths?
just sit there, not if talk show hosts just sit there and say, well, it's none of your business is what Google wants to do with their biases and stuff.
Well, ultimately, I mean, you can
hold their
want
feet
to know,
to the
but
hold their feet to the fire.
They don't owe you an explanation.
Google doesn't owe me anything, but I don't owe them my search business either.
No, there's no doubt about that. You can go and search in a variety of other search engines. What they are, I don't know.
Google, get consistent, or I'm going to stop using your search engine. I generally use Start Page anyway.
But they source from Google, don't they?
They do some sourcing through Google, but they use an anonymity platform so that you can choose not to at least be known what you're searching
Google
for.
doesn't know you're the one doing those searches.
Correct.
Through Start Page. So if you want to comment,
Google's
you can.
Getting scary.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We were just talking about their dealings with China last night here on Free Talk Live, and those are pretty frightening, deals that they've got on the table.
Right. If Google is willing to work with the Chinese government to track people's searches and then turn that information over to the Chinese government, presumably so they can incarcerate, torture, and possibly kill dissidents who are looking at things as simple as Nobel Prize, Tiananmen Square.
You just need re-education, comrade.
Right. If they're going to do that, then they're willing to do something as abhorrent with the United States government.
You better believe it. Let's go to Stefan. He's in Ohio, and he is on our Discord on-air call-in line. Hey, Stefan, you're on the air.
It's kind of interesting because the topic I was going to bring up actually had to do with the concept of online voting.
Okay.
I think that, me personally, I think it's a wonderful idea to have people vote online because I think a lot more people would participate in the system if they could just do it from the convenience of their own home.
Yep.
Rather than having to go to a polling place where you're going to have to sit in a line of like 65-year-olds for a couple of hours.
Okay,
sometime.
so how do you validate that the person is who they say they are?
How do you validate somebody's banking information online?
Well, they have to know their
Passcodes.
account and routing information and things like that. But ultimately, you still can't know because somebody else could have the account number and routing information.
I have a friend of mine who filled out his wife's absentee ballot and sent it in for her.
Okay, I don't know if that's legal.
I don't care if it's legal. I'm asking you, how can you verify how an absentee ballot is filled in?
It's a good point.
Okay.
It's a good point.
What I would suggest is maybe because at the moment you still have to go out and register, you could get a registration number, and when you're filling out your ballot online, you could put in that number, and that would be your verification. And you only get one vote still, so they would have to confirm, like you can't do an absentee ballot, for example, and then go in and vote in November.
Right.
So it would be a similar system to absentee ballots. It would just be you could do it from home. And I think a lot more people would vote if they could go online.
Is that what you actually want, though?
What's the advantage of a lot more people voting?
I think that it's a better idea for a lot of liberty-minded individuals. I think stay at home because they think it's a waste of time. I think a lot of them.
I would agree with your concept there about people voting online. And voting from the comfort of their own homes, if they could only vote from the comfort of their own homes, and only if they owned them.
Like the old days.
Like the old days, when only property owners could vote.
Oh, that was a thing at one point.
Should women property owners be able to vote, though?
What?
Women property owners?
I think anybody who's a property. I just think it should go back to only people who have skin in the game.
What about people who are part owners of property?
What?
What about people who are part owners of property? What about a group of people?
So if you own a
property?
condominium so you own the space but not the land in
Like
New
Johnson.
York City.
Johnson owns a condo.
Sure, like me.
Like you. Okay, you know what a condominium is. Great. If you own a condominium, you shouldn't be able to vote?
I think, well...
I'm just trying to understand what we're talking about here.
I could go either way on that, but I have a deed, so I would think that. Well, I guess you might have a deed if you're a part owner of a property.
So if I own multiple properties, do I get multiple votes?
I wouldn't think so.
Right, Johnson. They're just going to get around your system by buying a large piece of property in some desolate area, and then writing their name in on the deed.
Here's a square foot for you.
I own a square foot of the rainforest.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how did it work originally, right? Did it work differently before, or were they doing that? I have a feeling that it means you had to own a place where you lived. When they say property owners before, I think it was you own a
place in which you inhabit.
And you are inhabiting it.
You lay there more than 6 months out of the year.
I don't think it's a great solution. I mean, I probably would go for it, but whatever. Ultimately, voting stinks.
Well, let's abolish the system entirely instead. I don't know if you had more to say, Stefan. If you did, you can stand by. We will continue in moments here. This is Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 coming up.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 25th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.37 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,201 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,430. Antiwar.com reports anger over Friday's imposition of U.S. sanctions on a China military agency for buying Russian arms continues to grow, with China's defense ministry announcing that they have recalled Navy Chief Shin Jinglong from the U.S. and indefinitely postponed planned talks that were supposed to happen next week. The defense ministry added that further countermeasures could be taken in the future, while foreign ministry officials said they've summoned the U.S. Ambassador Terry Branstad to complain about the sanctions. The U.S. imposed sanctions to protest China buying air defense systems from Russia. The U.S. has threatened some measures repeatedly, but has rarely enforced sanctions against other customers of Russia. The State Department has defended the move, saying China is the only country to take delivery of S-400 missiles yet. They insist the sanctions are meant to punish Russia, not China. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Dallas Police Department on Monday fired Amber Geiger 2 weeks after being arrested for manslaughter for fatally shooting an unarmed man in his own apartment. Dallas Police Department Chief Renee Hall announced Geiger's firing after facing weeks of criticism for keeping the officer on the payroll after her arrest. The department said it would keep Geiger on administrative leave pending the results of a criminal investigation. The announcement said an internal affairs investigation concluded that on September 9th, 2018, Officer Geiger engaged in adverse conduct when she was arrested for manslaughter. The shooting happened September 6th when Geiger was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of 26-year-old Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died en route to the hospital. Police said Geiger had just finished a 15-hour shift and got off the elevator on the 4th floor instead of the 3rd floor where she lived. Police said when she entered Jean's apartment, the lights were off. She saw a man's figure and thought her apartment was being robbed and opened fire. Police say when she turned on the light, she realized she went into the wrong apartment and had killed a man in his own home. Dallas Police Department said Geiger has the right to appeal her firing. She was released from Kaufman County Jail on $300,000 bail. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a federal judge on Monday ordered Endangered Species Act protections restored to grizzlies in and around Yellowstone National Park, halting plans for the first licensed trophy hunts of the bears in the region in more than 40 years. District Judge Dana Christensen in Missoula, Montana, sided with environmentalist and Native American groups by overruling the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decision to strip grizzlies of their status as a threatened species. The decision by the Trump administration in June of last year to delist the grizzly, formally proposed in 2016 during the Obama era, was based on agency findings that the bear's numbers had rebounded enough in recent decades that federal safeguards were no longer necessary. The delisting, welcomed by big game hunters and cattlemen, had applied to about 700 Yellowstone area grizzlies in Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Environmentalists countered that treating those bears separately from other grizzly populations in Montana and elsewhere in the lower 48 states was biologically unsound and illegal under the Endangered Species Act, and the judge agreed. The judge also found that the Fish and Wildlife Service had failed to apply the best available science as required under law in evaluating continued threats to grizzly populations, including limitations in its genetic diversity. U.S. law prohibits hunting altogether inside the park, and Montana had decided against a grizzly hunt, citing its own concerns about long-term recovery of a bear population that is arguably one of the most celebrated and photographed in the world. Native American tribes, which revere the grizzly as sacred, sought reinstatement of the bear's threatened status as essential to protecting their religious freedoms. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Now, a lot of little girls do ballet even though their fathers couldn't care less and don't see what the big deal is. But one talented little prodigy actually choreographed a whole ballet that her father could enjoy and even look forward to. Let's meet Erin Kemper and her father, Jack.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Erin, how did you do that? I thought about all the things that my dad likes to watch and put it into a ballet.
Well, we have a special treat for you today because Erin is now going to perform her new ballet. When I pay the bills, I get to make the rules.
We can't afford that. World War II. I miss your mother too, but we're going to have to do the best without her. Go Redskins!
Bravo! Well done. Boy, I wish you were mine. You know, my two girls are grown up, but you still couldn't pay me to watch one of their a cappella shows. What inspired you to create this amazing ballet?
I'm really inspired by the theme of my dad paying any attention to me at all.
Now, at the end, I hear she just put the game up on the big screen.
I don't know where she gets it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE as we launch into the second hour of the program. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Also, Free Talk Live brought to you by The Tom Woods Show. Tom Woods is New York Times best-selling author, has written over a dozen books, including The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. And since September of 2013, Tom's been putting out The Tom Woods Show every single weekday, which means he's racked up over 1,200 episodes so far. Got great guests like Ron Paul, Judge Andrew Napolitano, David Stockman, and more. Great libertarian topics as well. Go check him out at tomwoods.com or just search for Tom Woods Show in your favorite podcatcher. We're going to continue here. We actually still have Stefan in Ohio. We were talking about kind of this question of whether or not voting rights should be restricted or extended. Stefan, you'd originally called in to say if there were some sort of online voting system, it might extend the ability to vote to many Americans who don't bother to spend the time, to get in the car, to drive to whatever voting location they've been assigned to stand in line.
Or if they have to work.
Or quit
they
work.
Can do it on their phone.
Right.
But some states have a system of online voting.
Do they really?
Alaska has online voting. Some other states like Iowa, though, if you're active military, you can vote by email.
See, I would have figured the state would have taken decades to figure out an online voting system. I can't believe Alaska actually has one. Is it simply because people are so remote there that they just figure, okay, well, we got to give these people an option?
One would presume.
Yeah, well, basically, voters that are disabled, it's mostly for the disabled voters in Alaska that would otherwise get an absentee ballot. So you're allowed to have absentee ballot by electronic transmission. It's actually on their website, elections.alaska.gov.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So they're the only state that has a more lenient type of online voting. Most other states reserve it for like active military.
Okay, well then that would be something that I think other state governments could look at and see. Have there been allegations of fraud surrounding this online voting system, more or less so perhaps than the regular voting system? And I gotta say, I'm really surprised that any state government actually got their S together enough to figure out. I mean, I'm sure they hired some sort of private company to make it happen for them, but man, I wonder how much it cost them.
The other states, there was a law passed a long time ago, the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Voting Act. In a lot of states, they allow the citizens of those states, let's say you have a passport and you reside in another country. Well, if you're still an American citizen, a lot of states will allow you to vote online that way.
I see. All right. So the other side of this, though, is, Mark, you were saying maybe voting should be more restricted, or Johnson was saying make it property owners only.
Anything to make less people vote, I think would be better.
So, your response to that, Stefan, do you think that fewer people should vote instead?
I don't see the benefit of fewer people voting, except for, there are a lot of rabid conservatives that want to restrict people from voting because they're terrified the minorities and the women are going to put like Democrats in office. Isn't
Johnson your point, though, that a property owner is less likely to be, let's say, a welfare recipient, more likely to be somebody who's paying into the system rather than taking out of the system, and so therefore you want those people to vote, but you don't want the people who are the recipients to vote?
I think people who are more rabid about voting are people who are more likely to be informed, period. Like, I just think that people who are, if I would like to see as much discouragement from voting as possible so that the only people that go to vote are the people who are committed to wanting something to happen. Like they have some sort of investment in the process versus, Leonardo DiCaprio told me to vote. I'm going to go vote.
I saw it on MTV.
Yeah.
So I
Rock
definitely
vote or die.
I definitely don't support the idea of people, just any old buddy being able to vote on their phone. Not interested in that, and mostly because I just want fewer people to vote. I think I might be on board with what Johnson says.
Property owners only, you mean?
Property owners only, but I think I'm more interested in just people being assigned to take the citizenship exam, and being able to see whether they can pass that as to whether or not
voting test, a ballot test.
Yeah, some kind of ballot test. But people are going to call that racist too. Basically, either you want everybody to vote or you're a racist, sexist bigot. And that, to me, if somebody opts out of voting by choosing not to go to the voting polls, then good.
It's because if the reason a lot of people say it's racist or sexist to have things like voter ID laws is because it would allow only privileged people to vote, for example, if it was just property owners. And it just happens to be the fact that the majority of property owners are white males.
Okay. I don't know how to address it. I see Johnson's point when you say everybody's at the trough trying to get money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you get them away from the trough? Making more people be able to vote, not a solution. The
system will fall apart faster if they vote for more freebies, I'd argue.
I'm not for I'm not for systems to make the system fall apart faster. That's just, how can we enact more violence against our neighbors and see how long they'll handle it? The evidence in Cuba is they'll handle it for a long darn time.
Well, I think that the idea of going to a property owner vote-only system is pretty politically infeasible.
It's politically infeasible.
That cat has left the bag at this point.
Well, the argument is voting a right or is it not?
Well, no, it's not a right. I mean, it's not a right in the same way that, your right to life, your right to, defense, your right to put what you want in your own body. Within the political system, it's supposed to be something that everybody within certain parameters, so if you're over the age of 18, for instance, you should be able to do. Now, I would say that if you're going to expand voting, then it should be expanded to anybody that's subjected to the government's taxation, for instance. No taxation without representation. So let's expand it down to age 16 or 14, where young people who are being taxed at their jobs actually get a say to some extent.
So we should do it with people with jobs, because that's racist.
No, it's not. All kinds of people have jobs. But the idea being that if you're not being taxed, then you don't really need a say.
Even if you don't have a job, in a lot of states you're still taxed. I mean, I know New Hampshire doesn't have a sales tax.
There's always some
here in Ohio,
tax.
For example, we have a sales tax.
Yeah,
so if you want to buy anything, you get taxed.
Great. Well, let's look at tax for a second. I've had a friend of mine who told me, he makes a lot of money and has a business and all that stuff, says that he gets about a dime on every dollar that his business generates. So
after taxes.
After taxes. Yeah. He gets an after-tax dime for every pre-tax dollar that his business makes. And should he then have more votes than the person who's paid $1 on their cell phone bill to pay for the Spanish-American War, right? The government is, all governments, but specifically the United States government, since that's what we're talking about here, has shown themselves to be completely out of control when it comes to spending. And they've done this as people have voted more and more frequently in federal elections. So the evidence is that people voting more frequently contributes to an exponential rise in the amount of spending. I'm not saying that the opposite is true, but certainly we can see that more people
are voting in federal elections than ever.
Yeah, in the Barack Obama election of 2008, more than half of registered voters voted, and it was the first time in U.S. history.
Really?
No, that's not the first time in U.S. history more than half of voters voted. The record was in 1876. 80% came out and voted.
Boom!
Now,
Mark, there you go, in your face.
Look, all I can tell you is what I've read in the news. In my face,
he won
nothing.
more popular votes than any other president, but the turnout was actually fairly low.
Because there's actually more people living in the United States today than
Maybe I misinterpreted the numbers.
The 1800s. Look, I tend to be on your side on this one, Stefan, and not so much on
voting
Mark
isn't
and
a solution.
Johnson's
Is
side.
basically what but my side too.
No, it's just a little game. It's just a little game they let you play to make you think you actually have some sort of influence over the system. Because if voting actually mattered, they would outlaw it, right?
Right, and like you just let more people vote, then the people with money just put out more campaign stuff, and then those people with votes then go out and vote for the people that they've seen campaigning. Because my God, we can't vote for the third party because. I don't know, whatever.
I would push
throwing our vote away.
Yeah, I would. Thank you for the call tonight, Stefan. I appreciate it. I would definitely push the button to abolish the government, abolish voting, all of it entirely if I could. But in the meanwhile, I think that not disenfranchising people who do want to participate is that's the way I would suggest going. But more coming up.
On August 24th, 1992, 20 eager Cardozo law students filed into a small room to kick off the first day of Barry Scheck and Peter Newfield's Innocence Project clinic. After years as public defenders in New York City, Barry and Peter started the clinic to review cases of people in prison who could prove their innocence using DNA testing. What they thought was a few hundred cases turned out to be thousands and a clear sign that the system needed repair. At the time, no one imagined that Barry's and Peter's vision would evolve into a national organization with the power to reform the criminal justice system 26 years later. Since that August day in 1992, there are now 565 Cardozo Law School clinic students trained, and the Innocence Project has celebrated 208 exonerations. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Coming up, the latest on the Cody Wilson situation that's been developing over the last week. The founder of Defense Distributed, the creator of the world's first 3D printable gun, is now in some hot water in Texas for an alleged so-called sexual assault on a teenager. But we can tell you more about that coming up here and what's going on the latest with him in moments. With you in the studio tonight, though, right now, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Plus, we've also got some tech-related news in both the world of Google and Facebook. Mark, we've got you with a story about Google, and apparently they are feeding information on you into a profile without your permission. We'll tell you what.
It's not just me.
Yeah, you, the listener, is what I was referring to. You, the person who may be a user of Google's services on the internet, which is probably most of the people listening if they are internet users at some level or another. But we'll continue with those topics here. Your calls and thoughts, of course, come first. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And you can weigh in on the question of voting. Should voting rights be expanded or contracted? And we've got disagreements right here within this studio on that topic. But first, we go to your phones and your calls and thoughts. It's Sarah in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Oh, I wanted to let you guys know that that cholesterol or fat is actually good for us. I have mentioned it before, but they've been, putting wrong facts out to have people be afraid of butter and cheese and avocados and natural cholesterol, and it's actually done by the drug companies because they want to sell antidepressants. Because 90% of our brain is cholesterol and fat. And I was told that the nerve synapses, the endings, they're also cholesterol. So,
see, I don't know anything about this stuff. Is fat the same thing as cholesterol? I didn't think that was the same thing.
Well, it's the same thing. So now
it says here, heartuk.org says that too much saturated fat can increase the levels of cholesterol in the blood, so maybe it can lead to cholesterol.
They seem related.
Yeah, I don't know if they're exactly the same thing, but I think that what you're saying to some extent may be accurate in that there are different types of fat, right? And people have been disagreeing for years over the benefits or the harms of consumption of these things. So I don't know. Is there any real firm scientific evidence out there one way or the other? It just seems to me like, and this is from somebody who's nothing more than a casual observer of these sort of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, sciencey health trends.
Right.
It's like, 1 year eggs are good for you, the next year they're bad for you.
It's not like yearly. It's more like decadely. But yeah.
I mean, it seems like every time you look around, you're seeing some new claim.
New thing that's
first
turning something on its head.
Right.
Yeah.
First, it's good to drink a cup of wine at night, and then it's bad to drink, a cup of wine at night. So, I know obviously those aren't fat related, but there's. They had the pyramid. Remember the food pyramid? The government said, these are the foods you ought to eat. Then they reversed it.
Right.
They flipped the pyramid upside down.
You know why? Because they're lying to people on purpose about these nutritional facts because they pay the doctors. The sicker that we get, the drug companies got more drugs to sell. So they confuse us. But actually, the solid cholesterol, they say that, like lard, for example, or butter, or like coconut oil.
Butter was supposed to be bad for a long time. Now butter's good, apparently.
Right. Then you're supposed to use margarine instead.
No, that's how it used to be. Now you should use butter instead, right?
That's correct.
Margarine, they wanted you to use margarine during World War II, didn't they, when they had a shortage on butter?
When I was a kid, I was told margarine was better for you than
yeah,
butter.
that went for a while. The margarine thing, I think, went for quite a while. But, Sarah, I mean, if you think the government's lying to you about the food pyramid and the foods you should eat, why do you trust them when it comes to highway matters?
Well, you know, that I feel it. You know what I mean?
You feel
it? Because there's a difference between... We used to be number 7 on the pedestrian fatalities. Now we jump back to being number 1.
So are you saying the local governments are more trustworthy than the federal government?
I don't know about the government being trustworthy. You know, I tell the city councilors that I want the red light cameras and speeding bans back. The city don't want it back because they all get voted out. You know,
so you don't trust the local government either?
Well, the local governments will basically do what the voters want them to do to get reelected here in New Mexico. You know?
Does that mean they're trustworthy or not trustworthy?
Well, you know what? It's like some parts of it, the government is trustworthy, but a lot of them are not trustworthy.
So the parts you like the welfare department, those are trustworthy people?
Well, I don't know about trustworthy, but they provide a need for the people.
I see. Well, I mean, as long as the check clears, it doesn't matter as to whether or not you can trust the person who's giving it to you, right? Thanks for the call tonight,
Trust
Sarah.
the check
I
will
appreciate
clear.
it. Just trying to understand, where she's coming from. Trying to understand if there's any consistency whatsoever.
Well, it's tough. People will generally do what they're incentivized to do, and they'll generally feel and act the way they're incentivized to feel.
I just think that it should be clarified that Sarah is not, in fact, a board-certified physician, and
thank you for that. Yeah.
Anything that she says may not be constituted as medical advice.
These opinions are not the opinions.
But Johnson,
of
she
Free Talk Live
heard
or the
that
station
somewhere.
that you're listening to.
Johnson, she heard that somewhere.
Yes. Reason.com, in fact, is actually posting an article about this really recently.
What about? Fat?
About cholesterol not being so bad for us.
All right.
It's just, it is. It's the fad, du jour. It's interesting. I think that generally fat is probably better than sugar, but, who knows?
I think food is better than no food.
Sugar's a poison.
I think food is better than starving.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
That much is true.
So the toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's why I don't get all upset about, frankenfoods, genetically modified organisms. Ooh, it's scary. It's bad for you. Look, I don't know if it's as good as non-GMO or as good as organic. I don't know what's the best, but I know that if genetically modified foods gets more food into people's hands, especially people who don't tend to have a lot of food, like poor kids starving in Africa, if it can help feed people, then I think it's a good thing.
When you've cut out cigarettes, alcohol, sugar, and have a proper balance of meats and vegetables and grains in your diet, then I believe you should start thinking about genetically modified organisms.
Being concerned about it, you mean?
Until then, you've got bigger problems, lots bigger problems. The problems are alcohol, sugar, and what was the other thing that I mentioned? I don't know.
But those are
cigarettes.
bad
My
things,
God,
apparently.
cigarettes. They kill you.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. So, Mark, we had a conversation recently on the show about Google teaming up with China and creating a search engine in which Chinese users would have to log in order to simply search. So, of course, building profiles directly. Because it's one thing, like if you sit here at the LRN studio computer, your searches are the same. They're in the same IP address. They're in the same user or whatever. As far as Google is concerned, they don't know who's sitting at the computer. But the person on their phone would have to log in order to be able to search Google on this Chinese search engine that they're creating, basically teaming up with China to help them run their tyranny state over their people. You've got an update on what they're doing, back home in the U.S.?
Here.
Yeah.
All over.
And all over. We'll share that with you here in moments. Your calls and thoughts as well are welcome about what you want here on Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll-free and take control of the airwaves here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. Hop into one of those, and we'll join you in there, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And that us tonight in the studio is Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Zencash is now known as Horizon. It's a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology. That's really great internet privacy, stuff. Zero-knowledge technology.
Better than Google's giving you.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. But it's also got a decentralized secure node architecture. Decentralization is very important in the world of cryptocurrency. But also, it's not just cryptocurrency anymore. That's why Zencash is rebranded to Horizon, because it's a platform now that enables real-life uses beyond just currency, including, right now, the ability to privately chat with other people on the Horizon network. Plus, soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon is bringing privacy to life. You can learn more at horizon.global, HORIZEN.global. As we get a little bit back into Google here, Mark. It was last night we talked about their teaming up with China and doing some very tyrannical things on behalf of the Chinese government with software. But it's not just, the Chinese area of the world or China that you have to worry about with Google. Apparently, they've been up to some other stuff that we should be informing our listeners of. So what do you got?
I probably don't understand all the implications of this, but I thought I'd read it with you to see if I could understand it a little better.
Okay.
By Charlie Nash, coming from Breitbart.com. Google users are concerned about their browsing privacy after a recent update. Google secretly logs Chrome browsers. Secretly logs Chrome browser users into their online Google accounts, syncing data without asking. A move one expert says has enormous implications for user privacy and trust.
Yeah, that's a big change. I mean, if that's what the way I'm reading, hearing you say that, it makes me think that they are no longer asking you if you want to log in. So on the Chrome browser, there's Chrome, for listeners that don't know, is Google's browser.
Right.
So browser is the program that you use to browse websites. And remember, those of us who've been on the web for a long time, they remember Netscape, right? That was one of the first browsers. So Chrome came out several years back, maybe a decade ago. I don't know. It's been around for a while now. But it was Google's attempt at a very fast, a very good browser, and I think a lot of people have good things to say about Chrome. I think it's a decent browser, but they have an option in Chrome, and now what you're telling me here is it may no longer be an option, or may have to be something you opt out of. That they sound like they're opting you into it here. So when you open up Chrome for the first time, there's like a little window at the top right, or not window, that's not the right word, but there's an icon of some sort at the top right that looks like a little person, like a silhouette of a person, and then you click that, and it'll let you log in
to your account,
to your Google account,
and have all the advantages of your account that you've saved and all that stuff.
Right. One of the things that the Google account allows you to do is, sync, for instance, your bookmarks.
Right.
So it's a pain in the butt, right? If you're on your laptop, as you are right now, Mark, you've got a set of bookmarks maybe on your browser, on your laptop.
Right.
And then when you go home, you don't necessarily, unless you have this syncing feature, you don't have the same bookmarks on your home browser.
No.
You got different bookmarks. So how do you get the bookmarks from one to the other? Well, it used to be a complex copying and pasting process and backing up files and all that. Now, all you got to do is log into this Google Sync. And, of course, Firefox has one of these things as well. So it's not exclusive to the Google platform. You just have to log into the Sync, and then, poof, there's your, there's your bookmarks.
Yeah, it should also be noted that this silent login is not necessarily the same as an explicit login into Sync.
It's not the same.
No.
Okay, so what are we talking about then? Because it sounded to me, from what Mark said, it sounded like if you're logging into Google on a website, that it'll just go ahead and pick that up and figure that you want to also be in your browser sync.
What's your source on your article, Mark?
Breitbart.
Okay, so it's not going to
have a tech source.
It's not going to have the full story. So Google denies that this is the intent. That the intent is, to basically make it easier for Google to match Chrome and browsing data to a specific user, right? To target them for advertising and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So Google denies that this is the intent and actually claims that that rather than a sneaky privacy breach, it's actually designed for extra security. Although this sounds like a black as white kind of justification, it does actually make a little sense. As Google Chrome engineer Adrian Porter felt Adrian Porter-Felt explained on Twitter, the idea was to prevent data link between people with shared computers. This, she says, is extremely common. She added that this also doesn't mean that Google is automatically uploading browsing history across your account. Syncing data is an additional step that requires opt-in.
Okay.
So it's just to prevent data sync, or data linking, like if a bunch of different people are on the same computer and having their data suddenly start getting mingled up and people's, profiles being, confused between different users.
Okay, so meaning that if it's a shared computer, somebody else logs into their Google account, it's no longer going to sync that to your profile?
Yeah, that's correct. So for example...
So Breitbart got it backwards?
Yeah, and so for example, this tweet, again, from this engineer, there's a tweet here that says, if you want to turn on sync, it's an additional step after you're signed in.
Yeah,
Sync uploads your browsing history to Google so you can access it across devices. Sign in by itself does not do that.
Okay. That's
I know that much.
Different. Yeah, okay. I'm glad you checked that, Johnson, because Breitbart, not a great tech source, apparently.
Yeah, so I had seen this earlier today. I mean, there a lot of, unfortunately, it doesn't really necessarily just have to do with Breitbart. A lot of news sources that are not specifically tech news, these days it's all the rage. No, it's intentional. Like it's all the rage to have what's called techno terror, where they just exploit any kind of technology story to make technology scary. It's a common media thing.
Well,
nowadays.
I mean, that said, the story we read last night was from The Intercept, and they did a deep dive into the topic. I mean, they're well researched. They are not some organization like Breitbart.
This specific thing, this Chrome thing?
No. Last night was about China.
Okay.
It was about Google teaming up with China to create a very restricted browser that would allow basically the Chinese government to completely create terms that would be prohibited from searching, would create easily accessible logs on each user.
But if you use that browser, does it increase your social credit score?
You're talking about the Chinese credit score
Chinese,
thing that they have?
Weird gamified Chinese credit score.
It may end up being tied into that. I don't know.
Always praising the People's Republic.
You get more points.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to have that in the first version, but it wouldn't surprise me if something like that were tied in later on. I mean, basically, they basically said to China they're going to do whatever it is that they want them to do. And Google's CEO was apparently lying publicly about the status of this particular program, claiming they were just in talks and it was, in the bare, beginning stages.
Yeah,
when in point of fact, the Intercept says, according to an internal memo leaked by employees within Google, this thing's almost done, and it's basically a total, surveillance tool for the Chinese government. So, on one hand, you got sloppy reporting on Breitbart. On the other hand, you got some pretty in-depth reporting on the Intercept side saying, yeah, Google definitely, it's kind of scary, like what they're doing with the Chinese government. So, I mean, you can't trust these people.
And a lot of Google engineers have been leaving over it as well. So
there is an internal protest that's been going on about that.
Also with Google's involvement with the military as well and military technology. Yeah.
Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. Mark is in Nevada on listening to K-Talks. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, Mark, you're on the air.
I understand. I talked to the K2X owner out here in Needles.
Yeah.
On 1340. Yep. I'm trying request to get you guys kicked off the air.
Yeah, really? Okay, I want to hear why. So if you can hang on, we'll
thank you for calling for us. Talk to us about it.
We'll bring you back. Why he wants us kicked off the air on KTOX. Most people are too cowardly to actually call in.
Yeah, sounds like he's got guts
with anything like this. So hopefully he'll hang on, and we'll bring Mark back here in Nevada, and we'll see what the claim is against Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. That's AnyPay.Global.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Calling it the most effective means to reaching one's full earning potential. A new report issued by the Employee Benefit Research Institute this week found that violently slamming one's supervisor against a wall and shouting, "Cash, I need more cash," is still the leading tactic for securing a raise amongst American workers.
We found that employees have the most success negotiating their salaries when they stride confidently into their supervisor's office, manhandle them like a rag doll, and demand more money right now.
Experts confirmed that the majority of employees who managed to increase their salaries maintained direct eye contact with their supervisors while reiterating that they were not f***ing around, emphasizing their position with phrases such as, "Give me the money now," and "I said more cash, old man." The Onion sat down with Kevin Simmons, who recently applied these methods in negotiating a competitive bump in his annual salary.
So the other day I walked right into his office, grabbed his throat with my hand, and told him straight up, "Start paying me more f***ing money today." And I grabbed $100 out of his wallet and told him that was a good start.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
All right, it's Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, want to make sure you know about Bitcoin.com. You want to learn the basics about cryptocurrency? Go where it all started. Bitcoin was the original cryptocurrency, the decentralized, amazing technology that was introduced to the world by Satoshi Nakamoto. You can go and learn some of the history, learn the basics over at Bitcoin.com. And if you want to get the latest news headlines about Bitcoin and crypto, then just go to news.bitcoin.com. They've got them there. Want to get your first Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash? You can purchase Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash through bitcoin.com as well. All kinds of cool features there. Bitcoin.com. As we continue, we've got Mark in Nevada. He's hung on, thank goodness. I asked him to stick with us because we picked him up at the very end of the last segment. And Mark, you said you actually contacted the owner at KTOX there in Arizona, one of our longtime radio stations that airs the show, I believe, every single night of the week there. Or I guess it's more like late afternoon.
Unfortunately, on Sundays, too.
Unfortunately, according to you. Now, so you said you were asking for the show to be removed from the air. Can you explain why?
Who's the girl on Mondays? That sounds like the cookie girl on Shrek. She goes,
well, she doesn't sound like that to me, but I think you're referring to Melanie, who's our Monday night co-host. Okay, so you don't like Melanie.
Bingo.
You don't like the way she sounds.
Yeah, she reminds me of that character on Shrek.
Okay.
So do you have any reason besides an insult against one of our hosts? Because we've got like a dozen hosts.
7 nights a week.
Oh, I have insults for the whole entire station.
Do you have anything that's beyond just, I think he's a poopy head?
Monkeys swimming in the lake and dolphins, intoxicated dolphins.
I'm sorry?
That's what your advertisement says. Monkeys swimming in the lake and dolphins, should they be apprehended or arrested for swimming intoxicated?
Are you referring to a promo that runs on the air, a Free Talk Live promo?
I talked to Steve about that, the owner of the station, and he said he's going to have that promo removed.
All right.
Okay. So you don't like one of our
You've
promos.
already got a promo removed. Excellent.
Okay, so you don't like
one
of
Move the needle.
Damn promo. It's the goddamn show.
Okay, well, you shouldn't be using language like that. I'm not going to drop you for that one, but I'm going to say to you, you don't need to do that again, or I will drop your call. So what is it about the show that you find so offensive? Is it the topics, the subject matter? What specifically is upsetting to you?
Not necessarily the subject matter or the topics. You're rude and mean to your callers, and you sound like a couple smart asses, and then you talk bull crap behind their back after they hang up.
No.
Well, so I mean, I can't sound like anything.
Oh, like that today. You said something about consistency or something.
Well, we had to hang up on somebody because they said the F word. They said the F word on the air.
Right,
we had
that's
to
not
hang
being
up on
mean
that
to a
person.
caller. You're clear on that, right? Like somebody comes on the radio and jeopardizes K-Tox's license, and we drop them.
Right. Just
That's
like
not
you just
being mean.
about did there just a moment ago, but luckily you didn't say the word that would force us to drop
keep
your
doing
call.
that. So you'll drop their license, and we won't have to listen to you anymore out here.
You are an a-hole. That's what you are. I mean, if I was the owner of that radio station, I would ignore everything you say.
So would your mother.
Thanks for the call tonight.
Not my
That's about
mommy.
all
Did
he's
he
got.
really talk about my mommy?
That's all he's got, man. That's all
He
he's
really
got.
had nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who walked into a battle of wits completely naked.
Yeah.
But at least he went with your mama joke. I have to respect him
that's
for
fine,
that.
right.
Your mother.
Right. It's not like I'm adopted and have abandonment issues
I
or
mean,
anything.
and I have to also give him credit for going into it with gusto too. Like he didn't.
Yeah, I appreciate
it.
his
Wasn't
guts.
just. It was like he went into that. So would your mother. It was just the delivery on it was pretty fantastic.
He's not putting us on.
No, he
he's
really
full
hates
on.
the show. That's for real.
He talks to Steve is the owner of the station. I mean, I know Steve, and that's definitely the right name. So yeah. Well, look, as far as Free Talk Live is concerned, we don't hear a lot from people that they think that we're unfair to callers. In fact, we tend to give more
we do
airtime
hear
to people that
say that we're unfair to callers. The problem is that they're wrong. Okay, so
but we don't hear it a lot.
Every caller that doesn't get to give the whatever seminar that they want to give.
Well, of course, there's the person who's upset that we didn't give them enough time. They think we're unfair to them. I'm talking about people who are on the outside, people who are observing the show.
Free Talk Live gives callers, and specifically callers who make the effort of calling on a regular basis, more time than any other show ever possibly would.
And people who don't understand radio, and first, that's thing one, people don't understand radio. But second of all, people who don't understand that Free Talk Live is very special in that because we allow everyone on the air, right? Because Free Talk Live allows all callers to call in.
That's correct.
Free
Except
Talk
for
Live
Doug
has
Siddle.
a unique phenomenon of chronic callers that are awful.
Well,
yeah,
we've
the
got
downside
chronics,
of
there's
that.
no doubt, and it plagues local talk radio often.
Yeah.
Usually not national talk radio, but really the issue is that Free Talk Live's on the air taking calls. Now, with our chronics, they aren't on. We don't interview them. We don't keep them on for a long period of time, but they talk.
I don't want to suggest that all the regular callers are terrible callers. It's just that there's a few that are just abysmal.
They're hard to handle.
They're not listening to. They don't even listen to the show. They, it's just,
But the thing is, you got to give those people at least credit to realize that they can get their message out by simply picking up the phone and talking on this radio show, which is heard on over the week, a whole 190 radio stations.
And you occasionally
from coast to coast.
might hear them calling another show if they've spent 2 hours waiting on hold to get on with another show.
They do.
Sometimes happens. You might catch it. You'd be like, I heard this person.
Yeah, other listeners have reported hearing people like Ralph from New Jersey and Sarah calling into other talk radio shows. But, ultimately, it's not hard to get on Free Talk Live. That gentleman who was calling, maybe I shouldn't use the word gentleman, but that person who called in just a moment ago was the only person on the line at the time. So, it's that easy to get on the air with us. It's actually easier to get on Free Talk Live today than it was when we were a local show in Sarasota, Florida. I don't understand why that is, but it's been like that forever. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I think it's the nature of news talk radio versus the sort of the hot talk that we did.
You think so?
We were on the hot talk stations. It was also the difference between local and national.
Yeah.
On a local show, people feel like, oh, if I call in, I'm probably going to get on relatively quickly, and I'm going to entertain my friends and neighbors. On a national show, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to call in." I Rush Limbaugh. They say you never get on Rush Limbaugh. You just sit there and wait for 3 hours. You never get on. This isn't Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah, remember the tagline was Free Talk Live. You could call to talk about whatever you want. You could even call to talk to us about your favorite type of hamburger.
You could do that.
That was like regularly how we described how you could talk about whatever you wanted to call in about, which is a strange thing.
Let's talk to Jay. He's calling from Florida. Jay, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hey, man. First time caller. I got sent here from your friend at Pax Libertas at the Lava Flow. I want to give him a shout out.
Hey, right on. Roger Paxton.
Absolutely, man. That guy, man, he's on top of it. He's got a grasp of my soul, of my volunteerist soul.
Cool. But, I like Roger.
Yeah,
He's
I just wanted to, for sure. Yeah, I wanted to call and talk about my favorite hamburger, man. It's,
all right. Let's hear it.
It's got chili on it. No, on the your guy that just called that creep. I want to thank you guys for taking an objective position, because a lot of times when I listen to guys that are like, I won't say any names, but their names rhyme with like Mark Levin, they just shout people down, and it's annoying. So when you guys, you take a position, and usually a position I'm friendly to, so I guess I'm a little bit biased. Then you talk it out like a minute ago. You're saying, all right,
we honestly wanted to hear. We wanted to hear what this dude had to say.
That guy really could have had an insightful critique about how we could make the show better. It's not your fans that are going to make the show better. It's people that dislike something about it.
He probably thought we were going to insult him and hang up on him or something like that, and we wanted to hear what he had to say, and then he was just like, well, you're a poopy head, and I don't like your sound of your voice. And dolphins get high. You have a promo I don't like.
Like a left winger, man. See, you know what you did? You got one of those Bernie supporters on. You're like, he was about to define socialism a minute ago, so we can't let him talk, man. Too far. We got to get this guy off the radio, man.
Yeah, I
don't know, man.
Right, we like responding to ideas. I like hearing people's ideas. Whether they are agreeable or not is another question, and we can hash that out on the air. But if you can't hear, if you don't have any ideas to share, then you're just a troll, and that's what that guy was.
Can I get your guys' opinion on? I'm a new radio listener, and like I said, just recently heard about you guys, surprisingly. But I'm in this position where I've registered a few years ago for the Libertarian Party, and I know this might be way off topic, but I'm gonna kind of step out in the community this next election cycle, and whoever gets up there, hopefully it's one of these Mises talking guys, but whoever gets up there, I'm gonna foot for.
You're gonna what?
I feel like I'm going to foot for. I'm going to go out there and try to
foot for them.
Foot for. Go out there and put my money where my mouth is. Because I always complain. This administration, Obama's blown up Doctors Without Borders. Trump's lobbing missiles.
All right, hold on, Jay. I don't know if you can hang. If you can hang through the news, I want to hear more about what you're doing there, because you're in Florida. And I'm from Florida originally, and so is Mark. And Johnson, you live down there as well. More coming up here in moments. You can bring up what you want. It's Free Talk Live.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Hey guys, it's Scott Bauer here, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. Are you looking for a super hot stock tip? Here at Prosper, we are always looking for exciting opportunities in the markets. And right now, all my students are salivating over this stock we are watching. In fact, I've got this hot stock written down right here, and I'm about to text it to you for free. I just need to know where to send it. Simply text HOT to 48542 and I'll text it to you instantly. How do I know this stock is so hot? Well, I'm a former CBOE market maker for Amazon Options, former vice president of Goldman Sachs, and I have over 25 years of professional trading experience. I'm telling you, this stock is hot. But be warned, the stock may move soon, so you need to claim it before it does. Text HOT to 48542, and I'll text you this hot stock instantly. Text HOT to 48542, and I'll text you this hot stock instantly. Message and data rates may apply.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 25th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.37 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,201 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,430. Antiwar.com reports anger over Friday's imposition of U.S. sanctions on a China military agency for buying Russian arms continues to grow, with China's defense ministry announcing that they have recalled Navy Chief Shin Jinglong from the U.S. and indefinitely postponed planned talks that were supposed to happen next week. The defense ministry added that further countermeasures could be taken in the future, while foreign ministry officials said they've summoned the U.S. Ambassador Terry Branstad to complain about the sanctions. The U.S. imposed sanctions to protest China buying air defense systems from Russia. The U.S. has threatened some measures repeatedly, but has rarely enforced sanctions against other customers of Russia. The State Department has defended the move, saying China is the only country to take delivery of S-400 missiles yet. They insist the sanctions are meant to punish Russia, not China. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Dallas Police Department on Monday fired Amber Geiger 2 weeks after being arrested for manslaughter for fatally shooting an unarmed man in his own apartment. Dallas Police Department Chief Renee Hall announced Geiger's firing after facing weeks of criticism for keeping the officer on the payroll after her arrest. The department said it would keep Geiger on administrative leave pending the results of a criminal investigation. The announcement said an internal affairs investigation concluded that on September 9th, 2018, Officer Geiger engaged in adverse conduct when she was arrested for manslaughter. The shooting happened September 6th when Geiger was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of 26-year-old Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died en route to the hospital. Police said Geiger had just finished a 15-hour shift and got off the elevator on the 4th floor instead of the 3rd floor where she lived. Police said when she entered Jean's apartment, the lights were off. She saw a man's figure and thought her apartment was being robbed and opened fire. Police say when she turned on the light, she realized she went into the wrong apartment and had killed a man in his own home. Dallas Police Department said Geiger has the right to appeal her firing. She was released from Kaufman County Jail on $300,000 bail. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a federal judge on Monday ordered Endangered Species Act protections restored to grizzlies in and around Yellowstone National Park, halting plans for the first licensed trophy hunts of the bears in the region in more than 40 years. District Judge Dana Christensen in Missoula, Montana, sided with environmentalist and Native American groups by overruling the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decision to strip grizzlies of their status as a threatened species. The decision by the Trump administration in June of last year to delist the grizzly, formally proposed in 2016 during the Obama era, was based on agency findings that the bear's numbers had rebounded enough in recent decades that federal safeguards were no longer necessary. The delisting, welcomed by big game hunters and cattlemen, had applied to about 700 Yellowstone area grizzlies in Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Environmentalists countered that treating those bears separately from other grizzly populations in Montana and elsewhere in the lower 48 states was biologically unsound and illegal under the Endangered Species Act, and the judge agreed. The judge also found that the Fish and Wildlife Service had failed to apply the best available science as required under law in evaluating continued threats to grizzly populations, including limitations in its genetic diversity. U.S. law prohibits hunting altogether inside the park, and Montana had decided against a grizzly hunt, citing its own concerns about long-term recovery of a bear population that is arguably one of the most celebrated and photographed in the world. Native American tribes, which revere the grizzly as sacred, sought reinstatement of the bear's threatened status as essential to protecting their religious freedoms. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
An update now on a legal battle emerging around the Onion News Network's own Jode Kressbeckler. After the shocking story yesterday that a group of assailants attacked Congressman William Cummings, tied him to a horse, and dragged him through a briar patch, some are now saying these statements from Mr. Kressbeckler last week may have incited the attack.
Bootlegging Congressman Cummings ought to be tied to a horse and drugged through a briar patch.
Mr. Kressbeckler's show is billed as an opinion and entertainment program.
Yes,
and
he
even calls himself nothing but a caterwauling old badger, so
Right.
the claim that he would incite people to violence seems pretty far-fetched.
He displayed a map of Congressman Cummings' home in relation to the nearest briar patch, told his viewers where to purchase a, quote, good pulling horse, and used a life-size dummy of Congressman Cummings to demonstrate effective knot-tying techniques.
Right. I think most reasonable people would see that as simply a ribald political satire.
Right.
Briar patch is obviously a metaphor for the prickly political atmosphere in Washington, and drag from a horse means something else.
Makes sense to me.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program. We got time for you if you want to join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And in the studio tonight with you here, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts. Coming up, the latest on Cody Wilson. We've also got Johnson with a story about Facebook employees suing their employer.
Yes.
We'll tell you why coming up here in moments. But first, Jay is still on the line with us, listening in Florida. He's a newer listener to Free Talk Live, having discovered us from Roger Paxton's show, The Lava Flow, which is a great libertarian podcast that I think is delivered basically weekly. Anyway, Jay, you're back on Free Talk Live. You were beginning to tell us you wanted to get involved, get active down there for campaigns, and I wanted to make sure you had a chance to explain what your motivations were or what you were up to. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just right now, if you had the town hall report playing where it said, Trump was saying, well, we want to respect your sovereignty and we want you to respect ours. And all I could think about is, how do we respect other people's sovereignty when we have all these military bases, in everybody else's country, on everybody else's border? Like, nobody else is really doing that to us. I'm tired of that hypocrisy. So I think I want to take, political steps to hopefully, build something a little bit more ideologically sound for the future. It seems like a good way to go. And I just, it's hard to find like-minded libertarians in the real world. And
No doubt. I know exactly what it's
like.
What part of Florida are you calling from, if you don't mind?
Well, I'm in Tampa right now, but I'm
Okay.
actually from the Carolinas. I'm just driving through.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. Well, it's hard to find libertarians everywhere, not just Tampa, not just North Carolina. And so what I would recommend that you look into is what Roger Paxton and the three of us here in the studio did, which is to pick up your life from where you are and make a migration for liberty. Come to a place where there are more libertarians and voluntarists and liberty-loving anarchists per capita than any other place in the world, and that is here in New Hampshire. Now, I don't know how long you've been listening to Roger's show, but I imagine he's talked about this before, hasn't he?
Well, I've heard Roger talk about it. I've heard Woods talk. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I have a little girl back in North Carolina, so that move is not happening as much as I wish it could.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Family is the number one reason, and I think it should be the number one reason.
Well, family should be the number one reason why you move, because New Hampshire is the number one place to raise a family. But then again, is this like a divorce situation where you can't,
It is definitely like a divorce situation. It's in that wonderful, fault-free child support system and the family court system, which has just been a pleasure to work with.
Oh, God.
I'll bet.
Total pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that. Well, here's another option for you. If you're striking out on doing anything local with libertarians, because again, the pickings are slim in that case, you can always help out us here in New Hampshire remotely. There are groups here in New Hampshire that
Lots
could
of different
use
projects, yeah.
volunteer help from the outside. There's a group called the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance that actually takes every single year. They look at the legislation that's being put forth here, and they have a review process, and they need volunteers to review that stuff. Obviously, there's web design kind of behind the scenes action that can be taken here. My point there being, if New Hampshire is the best place for liberty, and if we've got the most activists and the most sway and the most influence here, then it makes, if you want to see liberty happen somewhere, it makes the most sense to put your efforts behind the place where it's happening the most, even if it's not right where you are. But obviously, that's a hard pitch for me to make to anybody. It's like, yeah, don't spend your time focusing on North Carolina, spend it on New Hampshire. But if you want to see liberty succeed, we've got to concentrate our efforts, and I think we've shown crystal clear here over time that concentrating efforts makes a difference, and it works.
Well, I'm on board 100%. I'm going to look more into it. What's the first thing you mentioned again?
The New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. That's kind of like my go-to recommendation. I mean, obviously there are other groups. So if you're interested in like homeschooling, or if you're interested in gun rights, there's some great groups that are specific groups on those. But the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance looks at all these different issues. They look at every piece of legislation. They review it. They also give a grade, like a report card, to every single one of the 400 state representatives here in New Hampshire on a yearly basis. So they've got some pretty big tasks that they need help with, and it's always hard to find volunteers. I mean, just in general, even when you're here in New Hampshire, it's still a challenge to to find people to step up and help out. And if you get the chance to come up and visit someday, you ought to anyway, just if you can, because it's fun to come up here and get to meet Roger or whatever. He's out on the seacoast. We're out here on the west side of New Hampshire, and it's a pretty cool thing. And eventually your kids will grow up, and then you're going to need to retire somewhere, so you can come up here then.
That's a good point.
Thanks, Jay.
Why did y'all pick such a cold place, man? But hey, yeah.
Oh, good question.
You, and I'll look into it, man.
I'll address the cold thing after he goes.
Yeah, we'll hang up the phone. We'll answer the question about the cold here in a moment. Thank you for the call. Yeah, I don't like being cold. I'm from Florida originally, so I'm skinny, and I don't like being cold.
First, we have heaters.
We do.
Second,
Yeah.
Look, I get it. I'm not thrilled. It's not cold that bothers me, by the way. It's the ice that falls from the sky and then collects on the ground.
Slipping on that ice is the worst.
It's really not snow. All of it. Snow, picking it up, moving it.
That doesn't bug me.
It doesn't bother you.
That's just a chore.
It bothers me.
That's a chore.
It's a
Falling
chore.
on the ice.
It's a different chore.
Painful.
In Florida, you don't mow the grass very much during the winter.
That's true.
In New Hampshire, you must shovel the snow.
Yeah.
So if you don't shovel the snow, you're gonna die. So
there's a lot more mowing of grass in Florida though than there is in New Hampshire.
Probably more. That'd be my guess.
It's almost year round in Florida. There's only a short period of time where it really isn't something you have to do.
Either way, the cold, but people want to live in Florida, right? That's why all the Yankees moved down, and that thus must mean that people don't want to live in places where it's cold. Well, New Hampshire actually has a net increase in people coming into the state, but it isn't much of one. And I say, good. I'm glad when people leave. because then it's just more statists heading down to Florida.
Most of the time it is, although some of them are libertarian activists who just couldn't hack it up here. Those people tend to leave as well.
Usually they're moving to Mom's house, though.
Let's go to Janine in the tri-state area of Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Janine.
Hello. I am a small business owner, and at the end of the day, when I'm wrapping things up, I tune in and listen to you guys.
Thank
and
you.
The owner of KTOX, Steve Rubin, needs a big pat on the back. You guys are awesome. You're insightful. You're informative. You're humorous.
Thank you.
Johnson's mother must love him to the moon and back. He's funny.
What's the name of your business? What do you do? What's your packing up
Great
this time?
intelligence is displayed in like by great kindness, and Ian has learned to be more kind to Sarah. You guys got it.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for that, Janine. Mark, you had a question?
Yeah, what kind of business do you do?
I own a shop called the Dusting Witch Gallery. I'm a professional artist.
Oh, cool.
Dusting
This is my 10th year in business.
Congratulations, 10 years in business. Most of them don't make it 5, so that's it's pretty impressive.
I get a whole lot of help and support from my family. I had raised 5 children and worked for United Parcel Service for many years.
Yep.
And anyways, I'm going to get off. I just wanted to give you guys great
Hey,
kudos.
do us a favor. I don't know if Steve's listening tonight, so if you've ever
he
called,
will be.
Well, I don't know about that, Mark.
I heard a complaint, and just could not be quiet. So that's why somebody's got to know.
Well, do me a favor.
Always
Give
learning
Steve a call during the week and just tell him thanks, because it's always nice to hear a positive comment. If you're a programmer, if you're a radio station owner, most of the calls you get from listeners are going to be the grumpy people who are calling in and they're upset about something. It's very
I give you
rare.
all great kudos. You guys are growing day by day as far as your humanity and the way you speak. Anyways, I'm going to
Thank you,
Janine.
I know you're busy. I appreciate the call tonight, and if you get a chance, call Steve directly and tell him thanks. I
That's
appreciate
true for
it.
everybody.
My pleasure.
Yep,
Okay.
you got it. Because it matters. It makes a big difference. I mean, if you're a programmer and you're sitting in your office and you've got all kinds of problems, right? Like, we all have problems to deal with. There's always some kind of fire to put out when you're in business. Something's going on. If you're running a business, your employee didn't show up, you got to find somebody to cover. There's, some phone got disconnected, whatever it is. There's always something going on. And then the last thing you need is some jackball on the line chewing you out because he doesn't like some opinion that your afternoon drive host has, because we're afternoon drive out there on the West Coast. Well, I don't like those boys in the afternoon, blah, blah. That's
that
the
doesn't
last
mean
thing
you shouldn't give your opinion.
Yeah.
You should call the show and give your opinion.
He
though.
did. It wasn't worth listening to, but he did.
No,
We
that
let him
guy
say
did.
it.
That guy had guts.
Yeah.
And we've said it multiple times. That guy had guts.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that for every one of him, there's 10 that calls the station and says, that goes behind our backs and doesn't even address the issues. How am I going to know how to improve if you don't tell me?
All right, 855-450 free. Anyways, nice calls are unheard of.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful, full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free here to join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Anarchapulco is coming up in February. We went this year, and it was the biggest one ever this year.
By a good margin.
Next year is, I'm just going to go ahead and predict this because it seems pretty safe at this point, is going to be even bigger. Not only have they reserved the largest space at this amazing resort that they have on the beach in Acapulco, I mean, they were in a big space before with 1,700 people. This year, they're going to be in the 3,000-person space coming up in 2019. They filled that 1,700-person space this year, and already over 1,500 tickets have been sold for 2019. So we're well on track to hit another record attendance at Anarchapulco. This is a great event full of all kinds of wonderful people, not just the big speakers. I mean, they've got big. It doesn't get bigger than Ron Paul. They got Ron Paul.
Yeah.
Judge Napolitano, he's huge. Doug Casey, Larkin Rose, so many wonderful speakers, but also it's about the people who are there, the people that you get to network with, the people that you get to meet for the first time, or maybe for multiple times. Maybe you've met them before. You get to see some old friends. So come on out. It's a great event. We've gone now, 2 years in a row, and then you went to the first one, I think, Mark. You were at the inaugural.
Yeah, I hate that I missed 1 year.
And then we've been going ever since.
It's been a great event.
It has been great. We recommend it. Anarchapulco.com. Use code FTL. You've gotten a report that other Free Talk Live listeners have signed up already for tickets.
Oh, yeah. Thanks to everybody who has, and please continue signing up. We'd love to have a nice big FTL contingent there.
It's fun stuff. Anarchapulco.com. Code FTL gets you that 15% off. The dates. You need to know the dates. Mark this off on your calendar right now. February 14th through the 17th in 2019 in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. February 14th through the 17th. Go to anarchapulco.com. As we go to Gene, he's the Christian anarchist on our Discord chat. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, well, your mother wears combat boots.
Yeah, what about it?
She wears those SAS loafers, just so you know. It's very sensible.
Well, the combat boots can be useful at times.
Indeed.
I wanted to talk about Cody Wilson and his little problem.
Yeah, okay, Cody Wilson, let's do a brief recap here for listeners who maybe are just tuning in. They haven't listened in the last week. They don't know what's gone on. Does somebody want to take a crack at the recap? I'm happy to do it, but I've been doing it for the last week. So if somebody wants to do a fresh
Cody Wilson,
recap.
the guy from Defense Distributed, the creator of the Liberator gun, the 3D printable gun.
World's first 3D printable gun.
Has apparently gone on a website called something like SugarDaddyMeat.com.
MEET, by the way.
Yeah. As an opportunity to meet a young lady whom I'm going to go ahead and say at this point we have no evidence that he knew was below the age of 18. And
in fact, he had evidence to the contrary. She was on that site.
She was on that site, which suggests that you need to be 18. We don't know what kind of vetting. Obviously, Cody Wilson doesn't either. What kind of vetting they go through.
Probably none.
Apparently, coitus occurred and money changed hands. That was the purpose of the site. And then now Texas has put out a warrant for him for something like some charge that sounds
sexual assault.
Yeah, by the way, it's a site for women who are seeking gifts, not a site for prostitution.
That's right.
Yes,
it's totally
completely
different. And so he was arrested.
I mean, it basically is, because it puts it in the same category as basically any man who is in a relationship.
Right. Except that, the idea is it's not a real relationship. It's paying for basically attention from a young
But there's
woman.
no agreed upon rate, so
Purportedly.
no.
That at least the
if you
police
go out
have
on a
not-
date to dinner, that's more agreed upon than the random amount of money being given out by somebody who just decides to do something after the fact.
Yeah, that's the thing that's not clear from the police report. And you would think that if there was some sort of money that was agreed upon in advance, they would have said that, and they didn't. In the police report or in the affidavit to arrest Cody Wilson, they did state that he had paid her after $500. So after the alleged sex, he allegedly paid her $500.
Gifted her $500.
Okay, whatever. But it wasn't said that was in return for some sort of service.
Right.
It wasn't said that was a deal beforehand. So they didn't charge him, at least yet, with any prostitution so-called crimes. The so-called crime was sexual assault, and that makes it sound like there was an actual, violent victim kind of thing. When in fact it's just part of the sexual assault law that has a specific section that says you have committed sexual assault if you have any kind of sexual intercourse and or touching of a person who's under the age of 17 in Texas, because they say that those people under the age of 17 cannot legally consent, so therefore crime. And now here we are today, where Cody's been arrested. He was bailed out, I think, yesterday.
And he has since resigned as the chairman or CEO of Defense Distributed.
That was the update I was going to share tonight.
Yeah.
That is the latest in the news here. And the claim is that he will not have any role at the company anymore, according to a press conference today.
But I think, and obviously he did that to separate himself from Defense Distributed so they can continue doing what they're doing. So I can understand that he did that, why he did that. Maybe in the future he'll go back into it or into something similar to it. But the point that I wanted the thing I wanted to do was give my prediction about what's going to happen here, because I've been watching a lot of these government attacks against people that are against the government. And Cody Wilson certainly falls into that category, and so do I. And I've known people like Irwin Schiff who have been attacked and basically destroyed.
Sure. Irwin Schiff died in prison.
Yes.
For advocating for tax freedom.
This girl had to be over 18. Either that or she had to have fake ID, because you can't get on that website if you don't provide some form of government ID that says you're over 18.
You've tried signing up as a female?
No, I mean, I'm assuming. But,
whoa, wait. Have you tried signing up as a male?
I have not.
Okay, well then you're completely speculating on this. I can tell you this: I have not signed up for that website.
Legally, they're going to have to. Legally, they're going to have to.
Why?
Because if somebody is offering their wares on an adult website, they're going to be responsible for guaranteeing that they're over 18.
It's not their responsibility. It's not their responsibility at all. Every dating site, I'm on a couple different dating sites right now, and they've never asked me for any identification whatsoever. It's just an email, and then you put your pictures on.
Yeah, but you're not offering wares. You're not offering.
This isn't
I
the same
can see
thing.
why you believe it, Gene. At this point, we don't have any evidence to back up what you say.
It's not hard. I mean, somebody could go there right now and try to sign up and see if there's
I'm
any
scared to death that my wife will find out I've been on the site. No, thank you.
Okay, then have your wife sign up.
There you go.
What? She's not,
sugar baby.
She's not about this.
If she was $1,000 an hour, she might change her mind.
Just have her do it as an experiment to see. Anyway, but I think what's going to happen in the future here is we're going to find out that all of these charges are absolutely baseless. We're probably going to find out the girl is 19 years old. Probably going to find out that.
I mean, come on. Why would they bring a charge of sexual assault if the charging claimant or whatever, this supposed victim, was 19?
I don't know. They're going to come up with some twisted response saying, well, we thought she was 17 at the time. The counselor said she was under blah, blah,
I mean, the cops are screw-ups. There's no doubt about it. They can screw up a case. I mean, I agree with you
and
there.
Not only are they screw-ups, but they jump without checking things. And I guarantee you
this would be a huge screw-up for them to make, to actually get the age of this girl wrong. The one main fact that they would, the entire case, the crux, if you will, of this case.
Cody is a crypto-anarchist. He knows the government is out to get him. There's no way.
So you don't believe he would have done this? Come on, hang on, Gene. We can bring you back. You got more to say here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free, bring up what you want here. We're talking about the Sugar Daddy website that was allegedly accessed by Cody Wilson from Defense Distributed that purportedly allowed him to meet a 16-year-old young lady who then ostensibly met him in a hotel room, or met him, they went to the hotel room together, allegedly had some kind of sex, and then he drove her to a Whataburger and dropped her off there. A matter of a month or so later, Austin police issued a warrant for his arrest after apparently some kind of a counselor contacted the police, allegedly on behalf of this young woman, and they're claiming this was so-called sexual assault, which is, of course, an actual insult to anybody who's actually been assaulted in a violent sexual encounter. This was a completely consensual act conducted by two people who were consenting with one another, but somehow... And we're still not sure exactly how it is this counselor found out about this. You know, did this girl, did she actually hate Cody? Did she hate gun rights? And that's why she went after Cody.
We don't know anything.
We don't know how all this ended up falling apart. But right now he's facing a felony charge. Could be up to 20 years in prison, according to media sources on this story. And Gene, the Christian anarchist, is back with us here. Gene, you had alleged that this website, SugarDaddyMeet.com, was a site that one could possibly get into, or rather, you would have to show some sort of proof of ID. And I said, I don't believe it. Daryl was listening to our conversation in the other room, and he actually took the time to sign up as a female on Sugar Daddy Meet and said there's absolutely no check whatsoever. Besides, you have to check a box that certifies that you're over the age of 18, and you have to type in your age in order to sign up. That is it.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It's amazing to me, too.
It's not amazing to me.
I can't believe that, but I mean, I
it's
believe
that way
it,
with
but I
all
don't
dating
believe
websites.
But that's what this is, though. This is a dating website as opposed to a prostitution
That's
website.
all it is.
But it's a dating website functioning as a prostitution website. It's confusing.
But don't worry, there's no escort services allowed here. They make it very clear when you sign up. This is not for prostitution. This is not for escort. This is just for sugar
you could
daddies.
say the same thing about Tinder then. I mean, if you're saying it's a dating website functioning as a prostitution website. Yeah, because dating websites, a lot of the times, the point is for people to meet up and have sex.
Right.
Well,
And
it's going to be like...
Sorry, Gene, but on Tinder, since you brought it up, there are girls who will simply say in their profile, looking for a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
That's all their profile says.
So anyway, this is still my prediction. I'm going to predict. I'm going out on a limb, and only future is going to tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Yep.
But I'm going to say that this girl is actually of age. They're going to have to eventually drop the charges. The whole thing was a plot by the government to get Cody in prison in the hopes that here's the whole reason they wanted him locked up, and he bailed out somehow, and they probably didn't.
He bailed out on $150,000 bail.
Right. Doesn't matter what it could have been $2 million, but they did not want him to bail out. They wanted him locked up.
They would have raised the bail then, and I actually thought they were going to, since he had run to Taiwan, but he ran to Taiwan. Go ahead.
That's probably some little detail that they didn't manage to lock down in time.
Could be.
He got bailed out before they had a chance to raise his bail.
Could be.
But what they wanted him to be locked up with a bunch of rough, tough guys that are going to say, "There's that chomo," and they're going to beat the crap out of him.
What's
and
a
try to kill
chomo?
him.
Child molester, I think.
Oh, okay. I had never heard that.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, here's what I want to know. Mark, you were actually in prison. Were you in there with any guys who had sexual assault charges in regards to a 16-year-old female?
Lots of them, yeah.
And how were they treated?
Not like, if the worst thing is that you'd hear about somebody's charges and you just wouldn't talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I did see on a circumstance where one guy apparently was the story was that he had molested his sons. And somebody was confronting him, and he said, "My boys loved me," and the guy hit him right in the face.
Ooh.
And he was an older guy, so I mean, you're just hitting an old man. I mean,
but that's different than a 16-year-old, young lady consenting to
I don't
sex.
think that there's. Yeah, I would say that the prison population is more likely to have had sex with a 16-year-old than
here's
regular
what's
population.
happened in the last. Here's what's happened in the last 5 years, and I don't know if you guys were not paying attention to the news media or you're just out of touch. But
I will admit I'm out of touch. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, child
Clue me in.
molester has been elevated to the point of being a Hitler, basically. So if you're in prison and you have that label, you are going to get killed if you're ever
but that's what I'm saying.
alone.
These guys aren't
with
going to be
somebody
labeled a
else.
child molester in prison. That's what I was asking Mark about, teenage young ladies.
It doesn't matter. They're going to say, well, there's Cody and he's a child molester. They're going to say that. I've seen it online already. I've seen the people.
If you want
chatting
somebody
on
beat
Twitter.
up in prison, you don't have to go through the system.
You just hire somebody.
You just
to do
say, "Hey, look."
But the government uses this. This is the new Scarlet Letter. Have you guys ever read the book Scarlet Letter?
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the new Scarlet Letter. This is how the government silences people they want silenced. They're going to put sex charges on them.
I don't think this is a new thing in prison in the last. Yeah, I don't. I'm sorry.
Well,
I
no,
don't.
he's talking about silencing. So yes, Cody Wilson could very well be silenced on the outside after this. I'm just
Well, he
saying.
certainly hasn't tweeted since he got out.
If somebody in authority in the Austin City Jail, Austin County Jail wants to, I don't know what county Austin said.
Travis, I think.
Travis County Jail wants to have Cody Wilson beat up. They don't have to go through any gesticulations around child molester or anything like that. They could say, here's a carton of cigarettes, and it's done.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not just being beat up. It's being brought down and taken all of your credibility away. That is the point. It's to totally destroy somebody. It's
Well,
not
if it
just to
turns
beat
out
up.
that she is 19, as you're predicting here, if she's actually over the age of 17, then they will lose their case, and he won't
And that's
end up
why
behind
they wanted
bars.
him beat up and killed as soon as possible. So
You think that's going to happen in county jail?
Well,
It
they
doesn't work
wanted
that
it.
way. Look, Gene, okay, I certainly have not spent as much time in behind bars as Mark has, but I've been to county jail before. These are short timers. The people in county jail are people who are going to get out, likely. Either they're being held for potential trial for a longer time. That's certainly possible. But most of them, the ones that are sentenced there, are there for less than a year. Most of them probably don't want to get involved in regular fights or irregular fights because they know it's going to bring extra charges and keep them on the inside more, for a longer period of time. It's probably safer to be in some county jails than it is to be in prison. But either way,
I was in the most violent prison in the state of Florida by number of incidences, and no one was ever killed.
Yeah, and on top of that, either way, it's going to be a different treatment for somebody who's actually a child molester. If they go in there and they say Cody is a child molester, and then Cody's like, well, no, she wasn't a child, she was 16. Then, like you said, Mark, many of these guys in prison probably have had a intercourse or relationship with a teenage girl at some point. Didn't you just say that?
It's awfully presumptive to think they're going to give someone the time
to explain it. Well, look, when I was in jail, there was actually two guys in my cell block who, one of them was accused of actual child molestation. He was at a camp that was owned by his parents. He was one of the counselors, and he allegedly cornered I think like a 7 or an 8, 9-year-old girl in some kind of garden, like a greenhouse or something, and forced his way on her. And then there was another guy who was alleged to have had sex with like his 15 or 16-year-old cousin. And the guy that was the actual child molester, he was not talked to at all, and he was looked down upon by the other people in the prison. He sat alone for lunch, sat alone for dinner, and people talked about him behind his back. He didn't actually get in any fights because, again, it's just jail. But the guy who ostensibly had sex with the teenage girl, he was working with us in the kitchen. There really wasn't any talk about that guy. So.
Well, I just Googled inmates killed in county jail, and there's a whole bunch
It happens. It happens. Hey, thank you for the call tonight, Gene. I appreciate hearing from you, but he's got money, so he got out real fast. I mean, he probably wasn't even in anything more than the booking area. They booked him. He got fingerprinted. He paid his $150,000 through his lawyer, and he was out.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, veterinarian and naturopathic physician. The Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy with an important message. Take charge of your health. Do not continue to blindly follow the system that has failed us all. I appreciate GCN listeners because you're open-minded and intelligent. If our system is so great, why is it that the United States, the USA, ranks nearly 60th worldwide in longevity and #1 in obesity? All the while we spend more money than all the other countries combined annually on unnecessary healthcare procedures and toxic drugs. It doesn't take much to get on track, not with the government or pharmaceutical companies, but rather you in control of your own health with a basic understanding of nutrition and supplementation. FDI Longevity has the finest quality health, sports, and energy supplements available. GCN listeners are invited to join our team of people who want to stay healthy well into old age. We are currently looking for specialists to represent FDI Longevity and Save America. To buy products at wholesale prices or join our business team, go to GCNteam.com. That's GCNteam.com. Support GCN. Get healthy.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. I'm sorry, I was totally distracted by the conversation we were having in the studio tonight.
Well, we got to tell them what it is.
We have to tell them what it is. So we were talking. It was prison story time, and Mark.
Well, we were talking about jail.
Right. Mark had. Thank you to our board operators for covering with the whatever generic music that was. Mark, you were talking about a prison prank. Actually, what led to the discussion was Daryl came in to ask us if we knew about what Food Loaf was. And I had not heard of Food Loaf, but you had.
Yes, I'd heard of Food Loaf, but he asked me if I had ever seen anyone served Food Loaf. Yeah. And I told him that's the sort of thing that somebody would get in confinement, not in general population. Well, I spent, out of the 8.5 years that I was in prison, I spent 3.5 days
in
confinement, and those were unjust.
I had mentioned a story, and this can be covered at some point, but just mention the fact that apparently Texas prisons are now denying dentures to inmates with no teeth by claiming that chewing isn't a medical necessity. So they're just blending all the food together, and here's your smoothie.
Really?
Right.
Together.
And that is, as far as I'm concerned, cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, if you're going to just put all their food into a blender,
that's awful. It's awful.
I'm not saying that prisons should be nice places, but here's what I'm saying. If you take bad people and you put them with other bad people and you treat them all very badly in a bad place, and then you let them out some years later and you expect them to act good, you're a fool. The reason that we have among the reasons that we have high recidivism rates in this country is the way that people are treated, dehumanized in prison. You dehumanize someone and then expect them to get out and act human is stupid. It is inhumane.
Yeah, treat somebody with a little bit of dignity, with some respect, and maybe they won't turn into an absolute scumbag later on.
Right, but speaking of scumbags, the prison in which I was incarcerated, which is now rubble, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I went there. I got one of the rocks in one of the buildings. The building I used to work in. I just grabbed a rock from the site and knew where it was, and it was in the general vicinity of where I'd spent a lot of time. So it was a piece of a concrete block.
Right.
One of the pastimes was rigging up the doors, which were practically designed. I think the architect must have had this in mind, it seems like. Practically designed to make it easy to put a glass full of urine above the door for when the officer walked into the quad, and then they would be doused with this.
How many times did this happen?
Dozens.
Over the 9 years that you were there?
Yes.
Wow.
And more often in different quads than others. There'd be ones you'd be in and it wouldn't happen at all for, a year.
Yeah.
Others would be, let's do this again. It's been a whole 3 weeks. And now when this occurs, they do the standard kindergarten punishment.
Everybody gets locked down.
Everybody put your head down on your desk, right? So everybody gets locked down.
Yep.
Complete silence. You must sit on your bed. You may not recline on your bed. You must sit on your bed facing the wall. And then sometimes they tell you read a book, and sometimes they wouldn't.
Wow.
Depending on how they would.
It really is a kindergarten punishment.
It sucked. Well, but kindergartners would be told to put their heads down for a minute.
Yeah.
This is for hours and
Wow.
sometimes days for the quad.
Yeah.
Because it's only the quad that did it, right?
Well, someone in the quad. That
someone
did it,
in the
but
quad.
Nobody's gonna rat.
Right? Oh, please.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the rat. Basically, it got to the point where, look. Stop doing this. We're ratting. So I never did personally that I can think of.
You never
off the top
ratted,
of
or
my
you
head.
never put the glass of pee up on the.
I never
door?
did either.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you want to do something to the guard, go do something to the guard, you big coward. I mean, please, you can beat this. You can kill them off behind the way this place was set up. You could have killed these guys if you wanted to, but instead they act like cowards and dump urine on their heads.
Well, you're probably not going to stay in prison for the rest of your life if you just dump some pee.
No, instead you're going to get beat up by a bunch of inmates who are very unhappy for being treated like kindergartners.
Right.
And so that's what the whole goal was, and that's what happened. And really, the best thing to do is to stop doing this, stop behaving in that fashion. But I know that they were snitched on multiple occasions because you couldn't do this without being seen. The door's right out there in the middle of God and everything, right? And you may be able to have it so the officer doesn't see, but you're not going to have it so the 20 inmates living in a quad aren't going to see.
Let's go to your calls here. Your thoughts are welcome. David in New Mexico on the not the amp lines, the Discord call-in lines. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and nice segue. Speaking of scumbags, I thought I'd call in and give you the opportunity to scrape the bottom of the barrel and talk to a horrible chronic caller.
I don't think you're a horrible chronic caller. Please go ahead.
Thank you. One down.
I don't think you're a horrible caller, but you are chronic.
I don't really know because I haven't really had to experience your calls very often.
There's nothing inherently wrong with being a chronic caller, but it does result on this show in being deprioritized as far as taking calls are concerned. So
I automatically assume, though, that since you think that you're a horrible caller, that you probably are.
No, he was referencing the statement Mark made earlier about chronic callers.
I made a statement earlier.
Oh,
that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is Johnson getting all the credit and I'm getting all the blame in this
I
show?
don't remember. I can't tell you apart.
Johnson's psychoanalytic abilities are flawed, but we'll let him stay in that delusion because it's helpful. I don't think I'm delusional. I'll jump on that segue.
Go ahead.
That's cool. We can have a fun psychoanalytic debate, which I will bury you in if you allowed the time.
You sound very angry. I don't think that it takes a genius to figure out what's going on here. It's not like I need a degree in psychology. I don't need to spend 8 years at college.
Let me just talk over Johnson because he's kind of wasting airtime.
Go for it.
So Johnson, if you just take a nap for a moment, please. So let me jump on Ian's segue there. Chronic
Tell
caller.
me about your mother.
I got other. Can you shut up a minute?
It's funny. Come on.
That was funny.
Yeah. I didn't even hear what you said because you were trying to talk over me, just like government workers do. They'll interrupt you right in the middle of their sentence, and you won't hear what the hell they said because they couldn't keep their mouth shut until somebody was done talking. That's what you just did. Are you still there? Over.
So what I would say in regards to that is that the way we have the microphones set up, the broadcast and the most important part, the listeners can hear.
Okay. Well, anyway, let me continue. Let me jump on the bait that Ian threw out there. Let me skip all the other actual things of substance that I wanted to talk about and go
just
to
pick
the,
one thing
the
because
meta
that's all we
stuff.
have time for.
2.5 minutes.
I'll just talk, and you have a dump button, and you'll just use it. And you'll,
No,
and
we
your
only
show's
use a
over
dump
and-
button on somebody who puts our station's licenses in jeopardy, and you've never done that, so you.
Well,
won't
I'm sorry,
David, you're talking about talking. Please,
Yeah, it's
just
really
talk.
Maybe I'm
repetitive.
maybe I'm not a professional broadcaster, and I don't know.
Did you call to
the difference
complain
between
tonight?
your-
Because that's all you've done so far. Do you actually have something you wanted to talk about? Because you should get to it.
Will you quit wasting the airtime, Ian? Let me finish. We'd be just about done with
I thought
this
you
call
just said you weren't a
if guys
professional
had-
broadcaster.
We're
How can
done.
you evaluate that?
We're done with you. I'm actually going to put James on in Arizona now.
Oh, God.
James, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. Hello.
I love how you never call Levi Jean a chronic caller. Is he like a tramper platinum 10 times over or something to you
Levi
guys?
Jean? Oh, is that your name for Gene the Christian Anarchist?
Levite.
Oh,
It's a reference
Levite.
to the
Okay,
parable.
okay.
Yeah, it's a reference to the parable of the Good Samaritan.
I
Not
see,
that we
right?
know
Because you
anything about that.
claim he's not a good Christian on the Discord chat,
He
when
is
in
not.
fact you're actually
He
the
is
one
not.
who's a terrible Christian.
Never
James and
claimed to
Scott
be a
should get together and
Christian.
do their
I
own
was raised
show.
Christian.
James and Scott?
Never claimed to be Christian. I was raised Christian. Never claimed to be Christian. I was raised.
I thought you said you were a Catholic.
Yeah, Roman Catholic and Christian are totally two different things. If you know anything about.
So wait, you're not a Catholic? Are you a Catholic now?
Crime and a punishment is what it's all. It's referred to crime and punishment for a reason, Mark Edgington.
Are you a Catholic now? That's what I want to know.
I wants to talk about what I called in to talk about, which I've been on hold on for 35 minutes, maybe 45 actually. Crime and punishment, and Bill Cosby is going to hopefully die where Mark Edgington belongs, between cement blocks and bars. And anybody, if they were your female loved one that was date raped by Bill Cosby, you hearing anybody say that he should die under mansion arrest is a grotesque injustice, just like...
You know, at least he got to his point faster than David in New Mexico. We'll see you tomorrow night, freetalklive.com.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 25th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.37 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,201 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,430. Antiwar.com reports anger over Friday's imposition of U.S. sanctions on a China military agency for buying Russian arms continues to grow, with China's defense ministry announcing that they have recalled Navy Chief Shin Jinglong from the U.S. and indefinitely postponed planned talks that were supposed to happen next week. The defense ministry added that further countermeasures could be taken in the future, while foreign ministry officials said they've summoned the U.S. Ambassador Terry Branstad to complain about the sanctions. The U.S. imposed sanctions to protest China buying air defense systems from Russia. The U.S. has threatened some measures repeatedly, but has rarely enforced sanctions against other customers of Russia. The State Department has defended the move, saying China is the only country to take delivery of S-400 missiles yet. They insist the sanctions are meant to punish Russia, not China. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Dallas Police Department on Monday fired Amber Geiger 2 weeks after being arrested for manslaughter for fatally shooting an unarmed man in his own apartment. Dallas Police Department Chief Renee Hall announced Geiger's firing after facing weeks of criticism for keeping the officer on the payroll after her arrest. The department said it would keep Geiger on administrative leave pending the results of a criminal investigation. The announcement said an internal affairs investigation concluded that on September 9th, 2018, Officer Geiger engaged in adverse conduct when she was arrested for manslaughter. The shooting happened September 6th when Geiger was off duty but still in uniform, entered the apartment of 26-year-old Botham Jean, believing it was her apartment. She then shot Jean, who died en route to the hospital. Police said Geiger had just finished a 15-hour shift and got off the elevator on the 4th floor instead of the 3rd floor where she lived. Police said when she entered Jean's apartment, the lights were off. She saw a man's figure and thought her apartment was being robbed and opened fire. Police say when she turned on the light, she realized she went into the wrong apartment and had killed a man in his own home. Dallas Police Department said Geiger has the right to appeal her firing. She was released from Kaufman County Jail on $300,000 bail. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a federal judge on Monday ordered Endangered Species Act protections restored to grizzlies in and around Yellowstone National Park, halting plans for the first licensed trophy hunts of the bears in the region in more than 40 years. District Judge Dana Christensen in Missoula, Montana, sided with environmentalist and Native American groups by overruling the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decision to strip grizzlies of their status as a threatened species. The decision by the Trump administration in June of last year to delist the grizzly, formally proposed in 2016 during the Obama era, was based on agency findings that the bear's numbers had rebounded enough in recent decades that federal safeguards were no longer necessary. The delisting, welcomed by big game hunters and cattlemen, had applied to about 700 Yellowstone area grizzlies in Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Environmentalists countered that treating those bears separately from other grizzly populations in Montana and elsewhere in the lower 48 states was biologically unsound and illegal under the Endangered Species Act, and the judge agreed. The judge also found that the Fish and Wildlife Service had failed to apply the best available science as required under law in evaluating continued threats to grizzly populations, including limitations in its genetic diversity. U.S. law prohibits hunting altogether inside the park, and Montana had decided against a grizzly hunt, citing its own concerns about long-term recovery of a bear population that is arguably one of the most celebrated and photographed in the world. Native American tribes, which revere the grizzly as sacred, sought reinstatement of the bear's threatened status as essential to protecting their religious freedoms. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Hundreds of exasperated Americans confirmed Thursday that, for fuck's sake, the article they just clicked on is actually a stupid video.
I clicked on the story thinking I'd be in and out of there in 30 seconds, but then that little buffering thing popped up and I was like, here we go.
Quickly hitting the mute button after being disoriented by a loud blast of noise from some stupid ad for Hotels.com. Many of the deceived then scanned the webpage for some corresponding write-up so that they could simply read in peace, but reports indicated that would just be too convenient, wouldn't it?
Look, I don't want to watch a report or interview or panel discussion or whatever the hell this is. I just want to skim an article real quick and move on with my day. This is bullshit.
After seriously considering hitting the back button on their browsers, sources say the majority of readers decided to just let the video play out.
You know what? I'll watch the thing, and I'll probably watch the next video that automatically loads afterwards.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Today, let us make them remember we are not afraid! No fear here on Declare your independence. And me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the BEAUT full studios of Phoenix with the Nash, PhoenixPhoenix.com. Yep, well, I just got up. All right, now what we're going to do today's Davy Barker's last day hanging, and we got a bunch of stuff done, and we'll share it with you and with Mr. James Babb. James Babb is an activist out of Philadelphia. He's like, an everything activist. He's, he's running as candidate for Libertarian Party there as treasurer, saying, we're going to return the loot pillaged by the state of Pennsylvania to the rightful owners immediately. It's all yours. Take it back. So he's that kind of guy. Fiji activist. In the Fed activist with his family tooling around on the summer. Oh, yeah. How was your summer, James?
Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful.
So, wow, this sounds really clear. Is this just Skype? What kind of microphone you got?
I've got the blue light special that Michael W. Dean recommends.
Really?
I forget what it is.
Well, tell us what it is, because it sounds really good.
It's an Audio Technica, and it's an inexpensive microphone. Every one of your guests should definitely have a mic at least as good as this, because it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, this thing kicks butt. How much is it?
I think it's it's like $50.
Really? Audio Tech, podcast quality something, whatever it is.
I think Michael has all the details at creamyradioaudio.com, if I have the URL right.
I know he is big on bad audio is a hate crime.
I'm right there with him on that. Sometimes I listen to shows that's like the best guess. I really want to hear what they have to say, and it sounds like they're coming through a tin can on a string. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, no, they're using their lavalier off of their podcast earphone bud crap. But a lot of the audio is really changing, getting better. The tech is getting better. You and I have been around long enough to know that, damn. I remember during Lovolution years, they're doing the Lovolution radio, going around different places. They're doing a pretty good job.